Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here. We're doing both a preview and a reaction this morning, previewing the Indiana Pacers' second night of a doubleheader and reacting as much as we want to. Honestly, in some ways, I just want to forget last night because it truly was the worst loss by the Toronto Raptors, not just for this season, but I would even say that that was the worst loss we've had in the last 2 years. Well, at least since the Boxing Day debacle of last year. That Boxing Day game last year was probably the worst kind of thing that you could go through just because of the team we had against Cleveland and Kevin Love and all them and how they ran up the score on Utah and Chris Boucher. Yeah, that was the last time I felt like this the way I felt last night because it was really not common with the Raptors for us to wave a white flag and to pull those guys with right before the end. That Nick Nurse waved the white flag early, like I was hoping we would do to them yesterday in the preview. That's what I was saying yesterday. These games with Oklahoma City, there's always somebody who's up by double digits, and you just want to be that team that's up by double digits. Well, we couldn't do anything right last night. Oh my gosh, they were really good moving off without the ball, and they were cutting to the basket, and they were finding each other. And then the whole thing about me saying they don't have anybody second banana behind them. Well, that's because they are very, very equal with the minutes for their whole team other than SGA. It's like everybody played a certain amount the same. Everybody scored a certain amount the same. And that's why it's not so interesting with their stats that it's like doesn't look like there's any second bananas because they're all very equal throughout the rest of the starting lineup and the bench. And that was shown by Oklahoma City getting 8 people in double digits at the end of the night. Wow. They had their two-way killing us last night, guys. Their leading scorer that outscored SGA was a guy on a two-way contract. So that's enough to tell you right there. It was Omoruri. Yeah, that guy was killing us last night. That's a two-way player for the Oklahoma City Thunder, if y'all didn't know that. Bradley's been here. He said he can't make it. He's got to go to work. He's just want to say good morning to me and the Raptor Freaks, and there's nothing to worry about. Thank you, Bradley, for the reassuring words, and I hope you have a good, safe, happy day at work today out there. The Brothers Tada, look them up in the phone book if you need a carpet cleaned or a window washed, something to do around the house that you don't want to do or you can't do, call Tada. They will come and help you. They're in the book. G saying, yikes, ugly loss. Pascal is sorely missed. Yeah. I mean, I could even say that listen, Pascal's missed for sure. I think that we saw that we missed Precious last night. And definitely feel like we missed Cam Birch also. That this was part of the problem also. That, we lacked a seal on our defense around the basket last night. They were able to score at will and score in all kinds of ways. They absolutely killed us in the points in the paint. And sometimes I feel like we need Cam Birch in these situations. That sure, we could handle having Pascal and Precious out, but maybe we needed Cam Birch last night. I mean, we can say we needed those other two guys, but in some ways, the stuff we really needed last night was Cam Birch. And I hate that. Mike's here. Salute Real Ones Project Truth. Thank you, Mike, for dropping in this morning. Logical Raptors Fanatic. Go check out his YouTube channel. Andrew Bishop's here saying, morning, freaks. Good morning to you, Andrew Bishop. Thanks for joining us. Tom Duke is saying morning with the U in there. And I think that was very much on purpose. A little bit of wordplay, a little bit of a kind of way you can joke around if you're text-based in communication towards me. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Put an extra letter in there and make it mean something totally else. Yeah, Tom, it is a little bit of a morning. And listen, we can do, we're really lucky in some ways. We have a game again today. Yeah, it's not convenient. It kind of sucks, but this is the kind of thing that's actually really good for a team, that they don't have to wait for too long to get back on the court and change how they feel about how they feel after a Thunder game last night. We'll talk about each of the different people in the game last night, their struggles and different things and how things happened with the Thunder game, and talk about tonight also. I have the refs, I have the injuries, I have all the normal stuff for the preview too. So yeah, let's go. All good. Who's next? That's what Tom's saying. That's right. Who's next? Is this another day? We wake up, the sun still shines, and there's another basketball game today in Indiana against the Pacers. Yeah, yeah. This is a little bit of a trap game tonight. Also, they're traveling from Midwest time into Central time, so there is a fallback, and there's a loss of an hour. And once again, you're traveling after a game late, and who knows what time they get to Indiana last night to the hotel and how much rest they got last night, considering that they didn't look like they were very rested at the beginning of the game. Ah, but we all know that energy patterns can be strange and different and weird. And it could be that there's a weird biorhythm that was just very low last night. And for some reason, even with all the traveling and the weirdness and the back to back, maybe we're up and we have good energy tonight, because that was one of the things that Nick Nurse blamed in his post game conference last night was the energy. We had nowhere near the right energy in the game last night. We had nowhere near the right effort on defense, and Oklahoma City picked us apart. They really, really did. In the beginning, it was kind of Poku doing a lot of interesting things with his long ass body and arms, whether it was blocking shots or just kind of like going around like he's like Plastic Man. He just kind of goes around people and then he's laying it in. And he was really annoying last night. Alexei Pokukowski, or whatever his name. I don't know. I'm going to call him Parnikowski, just like after the old Leaf, just because that's the name I know. So it's a Poku. I'll just call him Poku. 14 points, 6 of 10 shooting, 4 blocks. Yeah, he was a problem last night. 5 rebounds. He was a problem early, and I didn't like that. He's not the kind of player that should be carving us up. And him versus Koloko didn't go well for the rookie. And yeah, Zach Zarba and his crew were upholding we're going to teach you some lessons, Christian Koloko, on how to play in this game. Now, also, I got to say the refs weren't very nice to us also. Once again, OG and Scottie cannot get any calls for some reason. These guys are physically getting hit all over the place when they have the ball anywhere near the low post. And there's not very many free throws going to those guys. Now, we did beat Oklahoma City in the free throw department last night, as far as we got more attempts and made more free throws. We got 36 free throw attempts, but we missed 10 of them for 26 of 36, 72% at the field. And they had almost 20 less free throws than us and shot better free throws. But there was a better differential for us. That was one area where we were kind of doing well, but really they weren't really calling as much as they could have with the physicality. There was a lot of stuff with OG. Let me see how many free throws OG got last night, because that's a really good indication. He only got 1 free throw last night. Yeah, there's something wrong with that. Now, Scottie getting to the line 6 times makes sense. And he had a weird game last night. It seemed like in the first half, he was not dialed in or paying attention at all. And he was really bad on defense. And, he was having a hard time getting engaged in the game. Well, in the second half, right away in the third quarter, he was really, really trying to go strong, like he was Pascal, and he was going to be the man to carry most of the water for the rest of the game. And he was really battering them down on the low post, really trying very hard to do some interesting things down there. But with mixed success, honestly, it's going to come. It's just, people are going to say he looks hurt, but it really is that he's trying to do some stuff that isn't really in his natural player cookie cutter kind of form of last year. Last year, he was just doing everything natural and just going the flow of the game. This year, Scottie is trying to impose his will a little bit more, and that isn't just a smooth transition. And some people will call this a sophomore slump. Some people will call, oh, he's really hurt, and that's why what's going on. No, what's happening is he's doing different things on the court right now that are going to take time for him to establish. This is the same kind of thing that Pascal went through, that OG's gone through, that DeMar DeRozan's gone through as a scorer, that you have to earn respect and learn how to finish through contact. When you're only a second-year player and you want to become a low-post scorer that's overpowering, well, you have to learn how to meet that force that's going to meet you in the low post and absolutely dominate and beat it. Well, he has the tools to absolutely dominate and beat it. It's not going to be like a turn right on thing. It's something that he has to develop over the next couple years, and it's going to be a mix of success and failure. Some days he's going to be really, really good with it, and we're going to see that soon. He hasn't totally got that to click yet. That he's just not polished in the low post enough to get this to look really, really good. And that is part of the learning curve. And that's part of the thing. This is part of the reason why we can't like say, oh, Scotty's just going to do this right away because he can just do it. Well, he can't yet, but he will be able to. And we need to just let him succeed and fail as he's naturally supposed to as a young player to become that guy. He's going to become it eventually, no matter what. Trust me. It's just that there's going to be games, and that may be like this, where it just doesn't seem like it's clicking. He's missing close shots, and you're wondering why. Well, it's because he's getting elbowed in the side. He's getting grabbed slightly on the arm. All the little dirty shit that veterans in the NBA and other people can do down low to try and stop you from scoring. And that's what looks bad right now. It's not that he's hurt. It's not that he's shit as a player. It's that he has to learn how to finish through contact near the basket. And that's not the easiest thing to learn in the NBA. That may be one of the hardest things to learn in the NBA. That is part of the reason why not a lot of guys get good at doing stuff down there, because they can't handle the contact. Now, OG's been handling the contact for a while, and he's still not getting any respect or free throws for having guys hanging all over him when he's trying to go up and put offensive dunks back. They foul those guys every single time they're in the paint near the basket, and they barely ever whistle. They barely ever whistle, specifically OG and Scottie Barnes. Now, Chris, he gets respect down around the basket now at his point in his career. Look at that. That's interesting to me that Chris started getting calls last year, and he's continued to get them this year. Pascal gets a lot of calls now, but he had to fight for them. So there's fighting through the contact and getting good at finishing through the contact with all the physicality, which is something Koloko and Scottie need to work on. And then there's the respect built with the referees so that you actually can get and ones or get to the free throw line from them. And it's going to take some time, and it'll get better and better. But Scottie's going to have some rough looking games that don't look right, partly just because he's forcing the game in a certain way that isn't natural to him, but it will become more and more natural as he continues to do it. And that's the tough thing right there. It's development, baby. It is development. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying in the comments this morning. Naco the Nacho saying Wancho. Second half, Scottie and that Thad were our best players. Scottie doesn't seem as happy playing this year. Well, he is and he isn't. There are things that he's very happy about. And trust me, he's having a good time. He's enjoying it. But he understands that the grind of the NBA is taking W's and hopefully not taking too many L's. And, he's upset and frustrated with the referees and the physicality and him not getting the team not getting respect. That's probably one of the main things he's frustrated with. Maybe he's frustrated with himself for not giving the exact right effort. There's a lot of different things he could be frustrated about. Now, about Wancho, these are your 3 stars, Wancho, Scottie, and Thad. My 3 stars were interesting last night. I put Chris as my first star because he kind of was the best percentage guy out of all of them. Chris off the bench, 6 for 9 from the field, 8 of 10 at the free throw line, 12 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, a block, 20 points in 30 minutes. That's not a bad stat line, a double-double for Chris, and he's my star of the game, first star of the game. He shot well. He made most of his free throws, 4 offensive rebounds. That's fantastic. So Chris was kind of still bringing it in amongst everybody else not really bringing it. And then my second star of the game is actually Malachi Flynn. I wanted to give some reward to Malachi coming out there and doing well. He scored 12 points in 12 minutes. That's great offensive output, considering we couldn't score any points in the first half, it seemed like, for a long time. Malachi coming out there and getting 12 points in 12 minutes is a big thing. So he's my second star. And then my third star is Juancho Hernan-Gomez. All bench players, because none of the starters deserve a star for last night. There wasn't a good enough performance in any of those 5 starters, so I could not give them any shine. But I'll give Juancho shine. 9 points, 3 of 4 off the bench, 2 of 3 from 3-point range, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And Juancho was kind of, if we want to talk about a bright spot, Juancho was showing some of the stuff I've been saying the last couple of days, that he is another one of these vets that's similar like Otto and Thad. Not as experienced and not as far as the extreme as them, but he is one of these guys that can go along in that kind of way and help in vet kind of ways. I really love how he hit those threes in the second half, how he looked like a capable scorer, and he was active and he was working real hard in the absence of other Raptors stepping up and working real hard. Juancho got out there and busted his ass at least. Tom Duke saying Alvin was saying a plumber needed to show up for the Raptors. Hard game to watch. Well, good. Alvin's maybe, I know this is just a general saying around the NBA, shut the water off. Well, there was no plumber in the whole state of Oklahoma last night. There was not a single plumber in sight to be able to go with the big wrench and turn that pipe water off. That water was going to flow any which way it wanted to. And that was one of the things Nick said about the second half and trying to come back on them. Well, we couldn't get any offense going consistently from the first place, and we could not stop them in any kind of way. Also, in the first half, they shot 70% from the field at halftime. The Oklahoma City Thunder was shooting 70% from the field. That is disgustingly good, and they were clicking on all kinds of cylinders, and we were not stopping them in any kind of way. And we still could not stop them in the second half when we were still trying to. They still scored at will. So yeah, plumbing was not an occupation that existed in the state of Oklahoma last night. And I've heard Alvin was really interesting and fun in the game last night with some of the things he was saying. I was not watching their broadcast. I was watching Oklahoma City broadcast, and I was also double dutying it with the 905 game. And I was actually listening to the 905 game most of the game, and with both of them on TVs. So I was watching both games at the same time. But that was a wild game in Mississauga last night. Fantastic game. We were losing the whole game, and it was very much mirroring the game in Oklahoma City, except the 905 were able to make it happen, come back and do badass things. Jeff Dowtin Jr., Reggie Perry, Saban Lee. Saban, you kind of screwed up the game and kind of almost got them to lose, missing free throws late and not executing late, making boneheaded decisions. Thank God they won despite your boneheaded decisions, Saban Lee. Because, yeah, you really were, you messed us up at the end and made it real easy for Westchester Knicks to win. And unfortunately, they suck, and they ended up losing. And Reggie Perry really bailed us out with a last-second shot. It was going to be all on you, Saban Lee, for kind of screwing the game up and losing it for the 905 at the end. If Reggie hadn't bailed you out with at the very last second shot that they had to check and make sure went through and counted the 905 winning by 1 point. After losing by double digits for most of the game, they did close the gap and come back. And Jeff Dowtin was a huge part of leading the charge to do that. And Reggie Perry hit a big shot late. No Ron Harper in the game last night. He is away from the team for a funeral. Somebody died very close to him. And I give my condolences to the Ron Harper Jr. It's too bad. I hate to hear that that's why you're away. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. My heart is bruised. On to the next game. Are youngins getting a harsh lesson? They have to find the defensive mojo. Yeah, it seemed like we just didn't have any beef. I thought that we'd have more beef down low, and we'd bully them, and we'd be the big sizable team, and we'd be bullying them. But there was none of that last night. Where did it all go? Was it really that Precious is that much of like a symbolic beef guy on the team, that he's just that beef? And that when he's not in the lineup, we look like we have a Tampa defense where we're just opening the door wide open. Aaron Baines is there to open the door and say, hey, come on in. Is this what we're doing again, Raptors, a Tampa defense? I thought we got rid of this defensive scheme when we left Florida, the Sunshine State, because this is the way y'all were playing last night. That was a Tampa defensive scheme. Yeah, open the door and let them walk right into the basket. That was what we were doing down there. And I hate seeing this pop up and come back around all of a sudden. I have not seen this poor of defensive effort by the Toronto Raptors in a while. I cannot remember. Even in that Boxing Day game, they were trying their ass off, but they couldn't do anything because of the talent mismatch. So this is tough. At least we got a game tonight, and this will help us get back on track. And like I said in the title, we need a palate cleanser. We need to wash this dirty taste out of our mouths, and hopefully we can do something against Indiana. Now, Indiana is very similar to the Thunder in a lot of ways. They're young, they're dangerous, they're doing better than they're supposed to be. This is a similar game, and I'm not going to say anything about in my preview for my keys to the victory like I did yesterday. Just say this is this. I'm not assuming anything at this point. We got to go in there like dogs and just fight and just be ready and hopefully have some pride after such a shameful performance last night to come out and change the perception and how we feel and how we're playing on the court. Because that was not a Dick Nurse kind of a defensive effort that we like to see for our team. He is not happy with this. You could tell he was steaming the whole game. He was just not happy. And it's tough because he's so many injuries, and 9 of 5 guys were away. He really didn't have a whole lot of options on the bench to try new guys. Like, it might have been nice to have Jeff Dowtin Jr. in Oklahoma City last night instead of Mississauga, but he was there. And Justin Champagnie not being healthy, this is really bad. This is stupid. Because honestly, if Justin had been in Oklahoma City with us, he may have really helped us in the game last night if he had been healthy and not on assignment with the G League team. So there's a couple of different things that could have been easier, could have helped us. We'll have to see. Hopefully they do get more of a defensive mojo, and man, they need to be better on offense too. I mean, I don't want to be too nitpicky and go after people or anything. I think Fred's not going to play today, guys. It's the second day of a back-to-back, and he left the game last night with an illness. He's actually sick, y'all. They said after the game, Fred was walking around, and he had a COVID mask on, and he sounded like congested, like he has a whole bunch of snot in him. It's not COVID. They've tested him, but he's sick. He's got the flu. And it's very highly probable that we're not going to have Fred tonight So there may be let me look at the injuries right now for tonight. Why not? We're all over the place. We'll do it how we want to do it. The Toronto Raptors are listing Justin Champagnie as day-to-day. Kem Birch is out as of this morning. Hopefully, I don't think he'll play tonight. I don't even know if he's on this road trip. I don't think I saw him there. Maybe he is. Precious is out because we know with a walking boot, and so is Pascal, but no Fred on there technically right now. But as I said, it's well known that Fred is sick and that he's congested and he's not feeling well. And also, they kind of said that they think Nick Nurse may be sick also right now, that he's not 100% with his health. The coach at the moment either. Mike saying, I'm sort of in video mode at the moment, thinking on my recording after the stream. Part 2 going to be fire. I got tons more clips to lay out the new raw data truth. Project Truth always. All right, Mike, you go with your work, working hard, diligent. We'll see it when it comes out. Isaac saying no answer for SGA at the point to inside paint scoring. No rhythm, Raptors. They really just weren't connected in general. Like, they weren't covering to help each other on defense. There was a lot of like mix-ups, and like I'll give a lot of credit to the Thunder. They had a really good game plan to carve us up, to take us apart, and they did it. And the crazy thing is, it worked so well that it stuck for the whole game. Like, when we play them again, they have a lot of good stuff that they can try and do right away. A lot of it is the way that they move on their offense off of the ball. They have such good passers at their positions on their team between Giddey, Poku, SGA, Lou Dort, that when guys are moving off the ball and cutting around, they're finding them, and they're finding really easy baskets. There was so much of that last night, where it was just like really easy little dump off passes, and guys were just cutting to the basket and they were getting lay-ins. And I hate seeing that, because there should at least be one of our defenders meeting with physicality and contact to make it a little tougher. But no, the door was wide open. Tampa Bay defense, Tampa Raptor defense last night. That's what we were seeing last night. Me mad. Damn you, Cowboy Bob Orton. Yeah, he's the Oklahoma wrestler. He's the one who symbolizes the Thunder because he's a cowboy hat. He's actually from Kansas City, but that's kind of close to Oklahoma, Kansas City. But yeah, Cowboy Bob Orton, Randy Orton's dad, is the symbol for the Thunder team. So when they win, they get to stand behind me after the win and sun me, basically. But when they lose, C3PO suns them. It's so stupid. All right, let's keep going. Nako's saying we should have been able to handle Poku much better. He was fumbling plays. Yeah, he looked so awkward, but at the same time graceful. I don't know. He's such a weird player. Like, he is so weird. Like, they need to take those guys, him and Holmgren with his goofy ass white t-shirt on the bench, to the Mandarin and lock the door and make those men eat some food, to put some weight on their bodies. Like, Poku, man, you are so skinny. You guys might as well be like skeletons. Like, for Halloween, did y'all just not wear anything and you just wear a skeleton for Halloween, Poku? Because, man, you really, like, geez, I worry about like this. These guys, of course, Chet Holmgren's hurt. I'm wondering when Poku's going to be hurt from just how brittle they look. They look like brittle Slender Men. They're weird. They're very weird. I know I called them the Slender Men. Let's see. But yeah, I don't understand this. We have the muscle. We have the bigger size. Why is he burning us? Why does he look like a real, like he was playing center for them? They didn't even start their 6'8" guy that they usually start at center. He didn't even play last night, Robinson Earl. They played Poku at the center and absolutely killed us with that. And I think it was because they saw Coloco's on the other side. So we're starting to see Coloco, sure, the benefits of him in the starting lineup, but maybe there are some disadvantages with him out there also, and especially from the experience side. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. M. Jones is saying, hey, Lex, freaks, Marge growl. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You put a Simpson sound in there. It was hot dumpster juice last night. Oh my gosh, that makes it so unappealing that it's juice. There's no excuse for last night. It's not that we lost. It was the way we lost. As if the roosters came to roost or something. I know, I hate this because I described this whole idea yesterday in the preview about breaking the will of the Thunder and making them wave a white flag in the middle of the game. Well, I should shut up because that's exactly what they did to us. I did not think that was possible for them to get us to wave a white flag, no matter what. It didn't matter if we're down by 20. We continue to push and try hard and just play all out to the very end to really maximize the chance of us possibly winning. And that didn't happen last night. We really kind of waved the white flag near the end of the third quarter in some ways. And it was just because we could not stop the cascade of their scoring. There were no plumbers in town, and they just kept scoring. We could get baskets eventually, but we couldn't get any of the stops. And it really is evidence in their scoring totals per quarter. It's insane how they scored last night. Having 70 points at halftime is absolutely unacceptable, Raptors. Once again, you're giving up huge offensive numbers to other teams and making it so hard on yourselves. 29 points for Oklahoma City in the first quarter, 41 points in the second quarter. How the hell do they do that? 36 in the third and 26 in the fourth. Still, they got over 25 in the last quarter even. So it's like there's no shutting off water, and that's weird. This isn't like the Raptors. There's at least some sort of level of defensive proficiency, and there was none whatsoever at all last night. None whatsoever at any point even. Like, I was thinking, okay, maybe after the half, they'll get talked to by Nick Nurse and the coaches, and they'll come out with fire because they're fired up. Well, that didn't even happen either. After the half, the thing that was fired up was Scottie on the offensive end and him trying to impose his will by making moves down near the low post. But other than that, no, there wasn't a whole lot of fired up after in the second half. And with not much personnel, a lot of guys missing, Fred being sick, it really, really limited our options. And that's why we had to play guys like Malachi and Juancho and who else? Like Chris Boucher so much at the end of the game. Chris normally would not be at the end of the bench unit playing in garbage time, but we really didn't have anybody available. This is crazy. With 17-man roster. It's crazy. Nako saying, I forgot about Chris. Chris was our absolute best player. Yeah, he really was. He really was our best player last night. He was still showing the energy. We saw him get in there and get some offensive rebounds and putbacks, really fighting in there, still fighting. He had the right kind of attitude and energy in some ways, but one man cannot do it all. and they really needed the team effort together as a whole unit, and that wasn't there. Mike was saying Boucher was beasting. Yeah, I mean, if that's a bright spot we can look at, it's about that. It's about it. Fiercey Salcero is here. Thank you, Fiercey, for your comments usually. And thanks you for making the live today. Good morning, fam. Did not sleep well at all. I didn't either. That's why I'm a little tired and I may feel a little weird. I may be a little loose today because I'm a little, you know how it is when you're a little tired and you're a little bit like flowing. Let's see. Edmund's here. Good to see Grace Mode Daily. Let's go 905. Yes, Edmund. Yeah. All right. Let's look at the bright spot. At least one of the Raptor teams won yesterday. A 1-point win over the Westchester Knicks, and they have a good record. They're 3-1 now for the season, and they completed a 2-game sweep over the Knicks in 2 games. The Knicks are really bad in 905 this year, just to say, and they are going to have a hard time winning. They have a really weird starting schedule in 905. I mean, in the G League, and they don't have a home game until like the 22nd of November. But yeah, they're really bad. They have a new coach also, Desaga Diop, who's a big man from Africa who played a long time ago for Dallas and a bunch of other teams. But he's their coach now, and yeah, they're weird. They really had a good chance to win last night, but they fumbled the ball, and the Raptors succeeded. Good job, and I hope Greg and everybody, whoever went to the game with Greg, had a good time and got loud. Yeah, as part of me was like, man, if I had gone to that game, I wouldn't have seen the debacle in Oklahoma City. Because there's no way I would have gotten to see any of the game being out there, and there's no way I would have gotten home in time. In fact, the games only started a half an hour apart from each other. So they were really on at the same time, pretty much most of both games. Both games were on at the same time. Kareem Thomas is saying, we lost 5 straight first quarters. I'd insert Boucher to start just to give us a lift. We were flat to start these games. You know, this is something we did a lot last year also. I don't always read into these stats where we're saying, oh, we've lost the last 5 first quarters of games. Well, have we lost the last 5 fourth quarters of games? That's really the stat I look at more. The first quarter doesn't always tell a whole lot, but it is nice to get off to a good start. But yeah, last year this was something we did all the time. We'd always lose the first quarter and have to come back from a deficit. I don't like that it's continuing to happen, and this is a stat worth noting. And hopefully we can change it tonight and break that streak. But yeah, I don't like that. But it's also not as important as maybe like the fourth quarter. If we win the fourth quarters more often, that's pretty good. Did we win the fourth quarter last night? Yeah, we did. We won the fourth quarter by 2 points after being down by 20 almost the whole game. You know, that's the messed up thing too, is like that difference never got low from like we go from like 20 down to like 12 maybe, and it never got any closer in a lot of ways in the second half. And that was tough. That sucked. M. Jones is saying we might need to look at defensive schemes because again, this is OKC. Might have to entertain certain hard truths for this coming season. Well, I don't want to read too into this. It's much like when we beat Atlanta and San Antonio last week. The overpowering way that we won those games, we can't really say that's the norm either. There's somewhere in between. So last night is the very worst end of the spectrum, and then like maybe Atlanta. Here in Toronto on that Monday on Halloween is like the best case scenario. So you see that there's different levels of success and failure we can go to. Well, that is really the very furthest of failure. And that to really get to the point of how bad we were last night, you had to have a perfect storm of a lot of bad things happening with Pascal, Precious, and Cam being out, Fred being under the weather. Some of our guys were not totally, attentive or ready for the game last night. Obviously, I'm going to say Scottie is one of them for sure. Gary has been really quiet recently with asserting himself. It's really weird. Gary is not trying as hard as he was, and I want him to. This is the time to do it. And then OG's been such a good level of play recently that he had a little bit lower level of play than how he has in recent games. Let's see OG, 31 minutes, 6 of 15 from the field, only one free throw, which I hate, 3 offensive rebounds for 6 rebounds altogether, 1 assist, 2 steals. He only got 2 steals. He hurt his 3-steal streak is over, and 13 points. He was a minus 24. That's not normal stuff for OG. That's not a good game for him at this point. That may have been a run of the mill kind of average game for him, but not anymore. Not in this settings with Pascal out. OG's got to do more. He's got to score more. He's got to carry more of the burden. And he did not step up and do that last night for whatever reasons. It just didn't happen. So I don't know. I don't think that it's the scheme in general. I think it's just the poor execution of the scheme. I think that what we do with our defense is really good. And I don't think there needs to be much of an overhaul. I think there just needs to be an enticement to the guys to really execute it, to really listen and really dial in and do it. Because, we switch with our scheme. It's not like we can really change our defense a whole lot, because our scheme incorporates all defensive schemes. It's like, sure, we could just be like a zone team all the time or a one-on-one team all the time. But then that kind of would pigeonhole us and be easier to play against. It's really that we switch up and are so versatile with switching our defensive schemes all the time that it is really what works. So I don't know if we can change our defense or the scheme that we run very much. It's just we need to execute it way better is what we need to do. And that's the thing. We didn't get the effort or the energy that is needed to successfully do it correctly. And definitely not last night. There was really bad lapses, and the points in the paint for Oklahoma City are the huge indicative thing of that. Like, what was their like? Let me look at the team stats for last night as far as things. They actually shot an amazing 56% from the field by the end of the game. That is horrible. If we're one of the best defensive teams in the league, no team should shoot 56% over the course of the whole game. They got 5 more shots than us. Normally, we win the field goal attempt race where we get way more attempts on the field goals, and we did not succeed at that last night. That shows evidence that Oklahoma City was working way harder than us last night, that they got 5 more shot attempts than us. We actually lost at the 3-point line also. They got 6 more threes than us and made 15 to our 11. We shot 37% at the 3, and they shot 42% at the 3. They shot over 40% at the 3. That is unacceptable. No good. And then I already talked about the free throw line. We got way more free throws than them, but we still, we missed 10 free throws. There were a lot of ugly free throw misses in the game that just made me groan even more about how bad we were. Amongst the horrible defensive effort, the free throw missing regularly by a bunch of different guys did not help. We got out rebounded, which is not normal for us at all. We got out rebounded by 5. And we did not have an offensive rebounding advantage. Normally, we have an extra amount of offensive rebounds over the other team. We had less than them. They had 1 more offensive rebound than us this game. We had 20 assists. I like the magic number is 25, but 20 is not very good to their 31. We need to be sharing the ball and more flowing freely so that we get to a 25 assists. That's the benchmark for me. 13 steals is about average for us, but when you give up 10 steals to them also, and they get also 6 blocks to our 4, we're not winning the hustle stats. They're actually pretty even with us. We didn't have a very good turnover battle with them. Both teams had a lot of turnovers. It was ugly. And they actually were, getting just as many as us. So there's not really an advantage there. And then really what I started with here, the points in the paint, 70 points in the paint for them, 46 for us. Now, with the personnel going into this game, I would have been telling you're crazy if Oklahoma City was going to beat us in the points in the paint last night. Well, they did. It's amazing how they did, because we really should have had so many more points in the paint than them. And maybe part of it is that we had handcuffs on us by the refs to operate down there efficiently with there was just so much contact. We were going to look really bad and not get points in the paint because we're just getting hammered and we're getting no calls. There's a lot of that going on. And realize that is part of what's the problem with our finishing. And then once again, one of our problems from last year, that it really was a really big problem last year, is not finishing after turnovers was happening last night. We would have breaks where we'd have 3-on-2 breaks and we would not get a basket. They would successfully defend us, or we would just miss layups, really, and dunks and easy shots that are right close to the basket we were not executing or converting. And that really hurt us because, we can get our turnovers. We need to convert on them because they're getting turnovers on us. And they're definitely taking it down the court and converting on those. So this is something the Raptors still need to really work on, is converting off of turnovers in transition with man advantage. Y'all, what is going on with y'all? It used to be in the NBA, it was just a given. If there's a 2-on-1 advantage, the 2-on-1 beats it. There's a 3-on-2 advantage, the 3-on-2 just beats it. The NBA players are so professional. They're professional players. They recognize an advantage, and their job is to execute on an advantage. So all NBA players could execute on a man advantage fast break. Why can we not fucking do this, Raptors? Why can we not finish when we have 3 guys down the court? They only have 2. There's an extra guy for us. One of those 3 guys is the guy you're supposed to be getting into, or at least finding the way to beat them. That's a huge problem, and we saw it a lot last night. Just failure to convert and complete the basket off of a transition basket off a turnover. It's not happening for us. I don't understand that. These guys are good. They should be dunking it. They should be just finished, making sure the fucking ball goes in. I got some fire. I mean, it's Angry Beavers on my shirt today. So, that tells you something. Isaac Campbell's saying, I think Nurse is going to shake up how he uses the starting lineup now. Could be. I mean, I'm not against this. I don't know. We'll have to just see. I'm going to guess that you're probably right, but I have no idea how we might do this. He kind of alluded to it in the post-game conference last night, because it may be that he has to do this because Fred's not available today. So if you're without Fred, Pascal, Precious, and Cam, he's going to have to figure out a new lineup. And who knows who's going to get to step up and be in the starting lineup. It could be Chris gets the reward for his hard work. And we're going to be playing with Scottie straight up at point guard with no safety net in some ways, because he won't have Pascal and he won't have Fred. And Scottie really will have to be the real point guard. Maybe he starts Malachi in the place of Fred. And maybe that's the chance that Malachi gets the opportunity to start, because he's done that in the past. If Fred's not available, he's decided to put Malachi out there. It could be Dalano also. So we'll have to see how he makes his lineup tonight. Fred is sick still, and he's not available. And it's very likely he won't play tonight because it's a back-to-back, and it's 2 games, and it's Fred, and we're trying to rest him some this year. And if he's already sick, so it's very likely he's not going to play tonight. We're going to have a new starter tonight. We're going to have to see how they go. Nameless is here. Good to see Nameless. I can't even blame the refs last night. Wouldn't have mattered if you can't make a basket. No, we can't blame Zach Zarba and them. I mean, they didn't make it easy for us to try and climb out of this awful hole, and the way we're playing, we may have gotten some better things going if they'd given us some friendly calls and put a couple of our gentlemen on the line a little bit more when we were really struggling down low and trying to establish that. Maybe that was part of the plan. Was that don't let the Raptors establish anything down low by not calling anything for them, and let them get frustrated and just look really shitty. And let's just see how shitty they can get, more and more shitty. And yeah, that really hurt us. But that's part of why we have to be so good and so perfect and play at a high level all the time. We cannot slouch. It's like somebody said, one of the twit heads said last night, we're not good enough to slouch and slack coming in the game and then just turn it on and try and come back. Maybe that's true when we're full staff and we have every single Raptor player on our roster healthy with Pascal and everybody, but not with this crew with so many people missing. We have to be on top of it and really on it right away. And we can't come into a game being like easing into it, as the twit head put it. We need to come at it right away with the right effort right away, and can't be turning it on later and trying to do that, because when we tried to turn it on later, we couldn't even turn it on later because it was just not there. And Oklahoma City did a really good job executing their game plan on the offensive end. And then on the defensive end, they did all the right things to stymie us and to really make it really hard on us to get in a groove offensively. This was one of the things Michael Cage and the announcer for Oklahoma City was marveling at. They were really excited because Oklahoma City hadn't looked so good until they played this game. And they really touted us as a good team. And they're saying this isn't them normally. But also really credit to the Oklahoma City Thunder for having such an even, consistent, awesome offensive effort the whole entire night. But on the down low, a really underrated defensive job on us also. that we were off, but also you have to give credit to the organization of the Thunder and the way they were playing defense last night. They were really smart with the way they fucked us up. There was a lot of jumping in passing lanes. There was, Dalano at one point in the game, I was like, get him the fuck out of there, because he wasn't trying hard enough. He was playing half-assed, and he's just kind of throwing it like this. You're not throwing it with any effort. Well, they're getting picked off. Dalano, you had a few turnovers from being half-assed with passing. He's like, oh, you can't pass like that on the NBA level, Dalano. You can get away with that on G League. You can get away with that at Nebraska. But you can't pass like that in the NBA. These are pros, and they will pick you apart if you're just kind of with your passes. So Dalano, put some zip on your passes and don't be half-assing it, because you were half-assing it last night, and I was calling out. There was one point where Thad was absolutely gassed. He needed to come out, and he was being a liability on defense because they were going right by him. And he was not a good backup center for us last night. He may have been a good backup center in the game before and had a really good game without scoring any points. But in the game last night, he was a horrible backup center for Koloko because he was not playing defense. Once again, him and Scottie looked like screen doors, and they weren't stopping anyone. Everybody could just go to the basket and attack our rim. And Thad looked gassed. And I was like, Nick, get Thad and Dalano out right now, because both of them are making us look really bad with their bad mistakes and poor effort. And I was like, damn, you got to get those dudes out right now. And he did. They went to timeout, and he had taken those two guys out specifically because they looked so bad at a certain point. I think it was in the second quarter. They looked so bad in the second quarter. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, we can't blame the refs. The refs were a bit of a manipulation in it. We can see that it was happening. But overall, the real culprit for why we lost is our own selves, for sure. Mike saying, Nick said, and this is true, on straight line drives, there is less time to rotate and help, and we need to be more on point. Yeah, that's one of the things they were doing, and that was what the coach of the Thunder wanted them to do. Take it straight down our throats, straight to the basket. No messing around, no slow timer, no nothing. And meanwhile, the other end, Nick was lamenting that the Raptors would get a turnover and they'd walk the ball back up. Meanwhile, like that was the contrast between the Thunder's effort and ours, is they'd get the ball in a turnover and they were shooting right up the court like Houston was against us on Wednesday. Like they're real quick to get up the court. That's a youngsters team. They better be. That's one of their advantages. They need to be quick up the court because they don't have a whole lot of advantages, but that is one of them. And we weren't really matching that energy of getting back on transition defense. And that's half of why they got so many easy points, is we weren't fully back on defense or trying hard enough to get back. And meanwhile, we'd get turnovers and we'd go half-assed the other way, trying to, like it was the opposite. We'd walk as Nick characterized it, we'd get a turnover and we'd walk the ball up the court. We were walking the ball up the court. There was no up-tempo, pushing them on their heels and trying to get them to score backing away from us. None of that. So there was just a very poor effort and energy around the Raptors team last night in general. And that really is what you get that outcome from. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercey saying Oklahoma City clearly. Hang on. Sorry. Whoa, jumped. Oklahoma City clearly outscored us and had a spot-on defensive system. Silver lining is that with Pascal and Precious absences, someone is watching closely. Some players should be careful. Well, there's opportunity out there for all the guys who are still healthy and playing, for any of them to step up and do amazing things and get more of a role, get more respect, grow as players. And nobody's taking that brass ring. It seemed like everybody on the other side was really going for that on their side, especially that two-way player, Ola Wuji or whatever. Let's look at his stat line. He was the leading scorer for Oklahoma City last night by the end of the game. But he was just really annoying. And the thing about him is he's like a power forward and he's very strong. And he was just taking the ball from us at times and rebounds and different things. And then he was hitting threes. This is the crazy thing. He was like this power forward, hit 5 for 6 from 3-point range, 22 points. Omarui, really, really a good player. And he's their two-way. That's right. Our two ways are in Mississauga playing the Westchester Knicks, and one of their two ways was in the game absolutely destroying us as their best player last night. That is crazy. I hate that. Summer Lowe's here. Good to see Summer this morning. Raptors got in early foul trouble, and that really opened it up for Oklahoma City. Yeah, and that maybe have been by design and a ref hit job. But yeah, that definitely doesn't help. But we've known that we can overcome early foul trouble and still keep a good level on our defense. But we didn't find that last night. It was really weird. Kareem Thomas is saying, I'm sick and tired seeing a shot go up and everybody backpedaling as if those shots are wet. Crash the fucking boards, create second chance opportunities. Well, that's just a evidence of lack of effort. That maybe there was no gas in the tank, and nobody's like, because there were a lot of balls. I was like, they could get that ball if they really wanted to, but Oklahoma City's zeroing in and taking it faster. They wanted it more in a lot of different ways on the court, whether it was with their effort at both ends of the court and also getting the 50-50 balls. There were a lot. It was very frustrating for me because I saw us getting outworked on the court in hustle and some of the things that we always beat the other team in. In fact, some people characterized the game yesterday as the Thunder raptoring the Raptors. That they showed the effort that we normally show on defense and the way we play with full court pressing and annoying stuff like that. And that's what we felt last night. We played against the Thunder impersonating the Raptors on defense. And you noticed at one point, Fred just wanted to stop carrying the ball up the court because they were hounding him so much. That was one of the problems was we were having a hard time getting the ball up the court on our offense because they were hounding us. They were doing the Mr. 94 feet to us. Like SCOTTIE would do to them, they were doing it to us. And they were getting a lot of good results from it, hounding our ball carriers. And at a certain point, they were really they got Dalano to look bad because they were really hounding him. Fred looked tired, and he didn't like having to expend so much energy bringing the ball up the court. So they bring Malachi in to handle the ball, and that's good. They needed to do that. You notice that. And then Fred could try and shoot and not waste all his energy trying to beat the Oklahoma defense, just bringing the ball up the court. Because that full court press was really annoying to us. So we got the Raptors treatment to ourselves by the Thunder. That is kind of what happened last night. It's really interesting. They were impersonating us, whatever they took our kind of play, and they played us last night against us. It's really crazy. Nameless is saying Kem Birch and Achua would have helped tremendously with some interior defense. They may be our two best interior defenders right now. And that was something completely lacking. We were Tampa Bay Raptors defense last night with Aaron Baines and Alex Len. That is what we looked like last night. Cool Cat saying every Canadian player is pumped to beat us. Latest is two-way Canadian. He's Canadian too? None of the players on Oklahoma City are American, apparently. Like all of them are other countries, like most of the good ones anyway. So it's crazy. They're all Canadian, Australian, and Poku, wherever he's from. Yeah, there's a lot of good Canadians in the league. And I did not know Emma Ruri was one of the Canadians also. Crazy. Let's see. RSV, Lishus, oh boy. I'm not sure what that means. SCOTTIE OG duo has to lead this team with Canadian Pacers. We have to play for pride. Well, there's definitely going to be some sort of get back of pride and just like honor in yourself. After these kind of games, you want to have a clear slate, start the game right away, and show that your identity and who you are as a team, as individual players, is way different than what was shown in Oklahoma City last night. So there is a lot of pride that is going to be important for sure. Yeah. And Mike agrees with Nameless about the big guys missing. Tom Duke saying agreed to Summer. That was an unsettling start, and we just can't start out that far behind. I want to see an interview with Kem about his injury. We need him now. Yeah, I hate this. I want Kem back out there. And Tom Duke saying, I'm sure it's not his decision to play or not. You're talking about Kem. Well, I'm sure if we could get him out there, we'd play him, even if he's kind of not totally healthy. He's played at a level of not totally being healthy and still got out there and done stuff. So he must not really be able to play right now. And that's too bad. I hate that his knees continue to be a problem. He had that surgery on his knee at the end of the year last year, and it's supposed to be working, but it's now his other knee that's having a lot of issues. The issue right now is not with the surgically repaired knee that he got surgically repaired this year. It's his other knee that's having issues now, which I hate to hear. Johnny's saying, hey, everyone, that was brutal last night. Let's get her done tonight. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. Let's go Raptors. Thanks, Johnny, for dropping in and giving us your 2 cents, and I appreciate it. Yeah, let's get her done tonight. Larry, the cable guy. We got to get her done in Indiana tonight. Let's shoot so hot that the speakers catch on fire at the Market Square Arena. I don't know what they call it now. Conseco Fieldhouse, whatever the fuck they call their arena. Let's turn their speakers on fire because we shoot so scorching hot tonight to make up for the horribleness of last night. Nameless is saying Wancho hit a couple of threes is another bright spot. Yes. If anything, somebody like Wancho who's been maligned, people have said, oh, he's not this, he's not that, he's speed 0.220 or whatever. No. You saw that. Do you think Svi would have done what he did last night? Maybe. But he's better. He's better than Svi, and put some more respect on him. He hasn't even totally shown us everything that he can do to help the Raptors. And we saw a little bit more of it last night. Hitting a couple of spot threes. Fred found him for one. And then he is rebounding. He is crashing the boards, and he's active out there. So that's important. Fiercely saying, I can take the earlier close losses we got against the Nets, the Heat, or Dallas because the effort was there. But this game was excruciating to watch. Yeah, that is a big difference. And yeah, those other games are easier because they're close, and you're playing against really crazy high-level talents like Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, Tyrese Maxey. But this game is like, all right, sure, SGA is that kind of level player, but it wasn't even really him. He really took a back seat and let everybody really equally beat us down. That it wasn't like SGA clubbing us over the head with like a 40-point game. He scored 20 points. He was really kind of just facilitating and playing within the game, but not really exerting himself on the game. And you can see that's kind of the difference in things. Sometimes you stress the game out and you can't really exert yourself on the game. You hurt your team. Like Scottie in some ways. Scottie was trying to exert himself, and it's going to be successful. And I want him to do this. I'm not saying I don't want him to exert himself and try and force his will on the game because he needs to do this because he has superstar potential. And this is an important part of being a superstar, is stepping up and taking over the game, taking control of it, and putting your will on the game. It's just that he's not very clean at it yet, and it's just not happening in a successful way for him yet, but it will. So this is a growing pain game for Scottie. This is a game, and people are going to say, oh, he's not that good. Oh, he shouldn't have won Rookie of the Year. Oh, he's in the sophomore slump. They're going to say, oh, he's hurt. No, this is just natural progression of an NBA player, the ups and downs of their career, and learning how to navigate and get to the next level and what they want to do. Because what he wants to do right now is different than what he wants to do last year. He's really trying to do more things with his will. Power and forcing what he wants down near the basket. Now, some people say you don't want to force things in the NBA. SGA didn't force anything last night. Why is Scottie forcing things? Well, he can talent-wise. He can back people down and make them little babies on his back and really use his combination of size and speed and strength to like take advantages of mismatches. So it's really him getting better at recognizing the mismatch, getting to a spot, and then finishing. Well, there's two things checked off that he's doing right now. He's recognizing the mismatch, first of all. Second, he's getting to his spot. It's just the finishing that needs to get executed now. So he's got 2 out of the 3 parts done. He's just got to get the rest of it. And it's really learning how to finish through contact. And that may take being more stronger, and it may take more savvy as far as like you finish with this kind of contact near you. This is how you finish around it. And this is how you finish around it this way. You know, Chris has a good way of finishing around the basket with contact around him. For being such a skinny, lanky guy, he still manages to make sure that ball gets in the hoop. And that's the kind of stuff that Scottie will get better and better at as he learns how to play with the contact. And that's a huge key. All right, let's keep going. But I'm with you, Fiercey. I can take those other losses better. I hate losses where we wave a white flag, because we should never, ever be waving a white flag and saying that we have no chance and that we're not trying hard to win the game still, right up to the last second. Cool Cat's saying, what is going on with Gary Trent Jr.? Is he stressed? This is a contract year. Is he trying to go to Lakers to join LeBron at trade deadline? I wouldn't read into this. Like, let's not read into this at all. I think that there's something interesting happening with Gary, and I kind of talked about it yesterday. If he's not going all out and not being like, because if he's high volume, he's not an efficient shooter. He can shoot like 30%, but now he's shooting a really good percentage, honestly. Like, let's see, last night for Gary, he was 4 of 10 He missed both his 3-point attempts, 4 or 5 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 12 points. Now, he's gotten 12 points consistently the last 3 games. Now, that is like not stepping up in the absence of some of our guys missing. In fact, he scores better when guys are around. Now, some people say, well, that's part of it. Is that Pascal not being there is getting too much attention put on Gary, and he's kind of handcuffed a little bit more than if Pascal would be out there drawing attention, and then Gary has easier shots. So that may be part of what the phenomenon that is happening with Gary is there's more attention on him because they don't have to put as much attention on the other guys around him. And that is what's possibly hurting him. I also think he's trying to play more within himself, much like I was just talking about with Scottie about putting his will on the game. Well, Gary was more like putting his will on the game at different times, but right now he's taking a back seat to doing that. Maybe he should try and put his will on the game again and go for 40 to 50 points for the Raptors. I don't give a shit, Gary. Maybe tonight is your night. If Fred's out and we need you, and maybe you have some success against the Indiana Pacers in the past, maybe you need to get your will, put your will on the game again and stop kind of playing backseat and kind of letting the game come to you like you have recently. I mean, I like it because you've been more efficient because of doing that. But also at the same time, I'd rather you be aggressive because we really need your offensive firepower to help carry water in the absence of people like Pascal Siakam, possibly Fred VanVleet tonight. So I don't want to read into it. You're reading into this way too far, Cool Cat. When you're talking about he may want to go to the Lakers, he's like, is he stressed? Let's not read into it like this. It's something. I think it's just low energy, and maybe he's trying to play within the game instead of playing outside the game like he has in the past. Because he really does force his will on the game. This is an interesting topic to talk about, forcing your will on the game and what you want to do in the game. And that the different battles that are going on with Scottie, Gary, and Christian. Christian Coloco is another one, forcing his will on the game. And how can he successfully translate that with his long arms and his foul calls that are getting called on him and his inability to finish near the basket right now? Well, he's going to be able to finish around the basket soon. That's the spoiler alert. He's going to be able to finish around the basket soon. It's like, get those bunnies and all this ugliness out of the way, Christian, because you're going to be like a 60% shooter soon. It's just right now you're rookie and you're getting your legs. Let's see. Isaac's saying, I worry we will fall into trading wins without Pascal court leadership. Nurse needs to look at game matchups to ensure a focused start. Injuries mean we cannot just get out and run in transition. Yeah, we have to maybe really mold our game plan to the specific personnel we have available and also the matchup of the team we're playing against. And that may have been part of what Dagnall saw about the Thunder yesterday. It's like, look, this team looks a little skinny with all their injuries and not enough guys with them. Let's run them off the court. And that may have very well been one of the game plans for the Thunder last night. Run them off the court because they look like they're able to be gotten like that. Listen, I will say this, Isaac. With Pascal out, Precious out, I'd like to just stay 50, like 50-50. If we can stay a 500 team and trade wins for losses in this period of time, kind of stay stasis just above 500, I'll be okay with that. Because we lose the game tonight, we'll be at 500. It'll be 7-7 for the record. And yeah, that's tough going to Detroit on Monday and playing that next game to not try and fall under 500 in that case. So let's get ahead of it and let's get the win tonight and salvage this back-to-back, because that's the way they're thinking. It's like, well, we lost the first game of the back-to-back. We need to win the second game of the back-to-back. And to be honest, Indiana, we may have a better time against Indiana in some ways than other teams because they're a good matchup for us. We've played very well against them the last couple of years. In fact, I don't think they've beaten us in a couple of years. So we need to continue that streak against the Pacers and, really make sure we keep our record above 500 so that even if we're trading wins for losses and we're a 500 team while Pascal's gone, we're still in good shape when he comes back, and we can continue to try and build even higher at a higher percentage when he comes back. But if we can stay pat at being 500 the whole time he's gone, that's good. That's good because that means we didn't lose, like go on a crazy losing streak where we lost like 5 games while he was out. That is the worst case scenario, and we don't want that. So 500 ball is fine with me. Trading wins and losses for the time being until guys get back and healthy, that's fine with me. Better than going on losing streak. Scott B saying refs got them going with bullshit calls and frustrated them with a 4-point bullshit call in the beginning of the third. A lot of phantom calls on us tonight, and that was the difference in the game. That wasn't a total difference, Scott, but I won't say that you're wrong and that those things were there and present. But once again, somebody said it earlier, we can't blame the refs. The main culprit of what happened last night is energy and effort and just being connected on the court. These guys were not connected correctly, specifically on the defensive end. Sometimes we see them, they're not totally connected on the offensive end, and that may happen from time to time, but it's always like for sure we're connected on the defensive end. But that wasn't the case last night, and that was a huge part of why we lost, is the lack of connection among our team, and also just poor effort, just not flat, completely flat. There's been a couple of games in the last week where we've come out and had complete flat energy and nothing good going with us. M. Jones is saying, don't mind me. We're all Raptor freaks here. And the freak in me wants to kick over the Gatorade jug. Yeah, let's get that big orange Gatorade and just push it over on the court and flood the whole court. But everything is a learning lesson, and tonight what sort of adjustments will get made. We'll figure out what sort of adjustments should be made. Yeah. We are really way too reactive as a fan base. Honestly, we are such flavor of the minute, the moment, the second of Raptors, whatever's going on, whether it's an injury news, whether it's some sort of whatever, a high, a low. We are very bipolar as the fan nation. Why can't we even things out? Like, it's good to strive for an evenness, not like a whoa, we're riding high and then boom, the plummet to the very bottom. That's like how I was in my life as an alcoholic actively. Is I have these crazy highs and then I get so depressed in the lows. Can we even this out a bit? Can Raptors fans just stop, please, overreacting to every single game? There's 82 games in the season. There's going to be some games that are going to look like Atlanta Hawks on Halloween. There's going to be some games that look like last night. And we got to be ready to just kind of say, this is one game, clean the slate and move on, just like the team is doing today. They're going to watch tape and they feel like shit and they're upset and they feel like us, but they have a mindset of saying, well, we have a whole new chance to wipe the slate clean and make an even better effort tonight and have good things happen tonight. And we need to mirror that as fans. And like, some people are jumping off a cliff. The fans that are negative Raptor fans are just loving it because they can talk about how horrible we are and how we're a pretender and how we're really not going to do anything in the postseason because this is who we really are. Well, they're wrong. They're wrong. They're so wrong. So I would like to ask Raptors fan nation to maybe temper overreacting so much. I know this is impossible because this is kind of a calling card of our fan nation. And maybe this is something we could do as Raptor Freak Nation within the Raptors Nation, fan nation, is just be those kind of like role models to other fans about like keeping your cool and kind of being like, you know what? Yeah, this is one game and it looked awful and it sucks. And we can talk about it like we're doing today, but it's just one game. And it's not the identity of this team. And like I said, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's the Atlanta Hawks on a Halloween night blowout by like 40 points. And then there's this loss like last night at the other end of the spectrum. And neither one of them is truly who we are. There's somewhere in the middle is actually where we are. And we need to think that way and be a little bit more medium with our energy as far as like feeling not getting up too high and not getting too low. That's the way the team is. They don't ride these crazy highs of jubilation when they win too long because they don't want to get in their head and get too high because it will hurt them in the next game. So they really don't get too up for the wins, the positive stuff. And they feel the lows and it hurts and they hate it. But also at the same times, you can't sewer yourself and get so down there into a place that's dark because you need to have that perspective and say, look, this is one game out of 82. And there's another one coming really fast tonight in Indiana. So it's perspective. And I want to try and how can we make this more measured without medicating the whole Raptors fan nation? Like, y'all need some antidepressants or something to get, you to a level of like emotional state. Because y'all are way too overreactive and stuff. I'm reacting to the game and I don't react as crazy as y'all. Although I could go over emotional times 10 on this and Chicken Little and be, oh, our team is so horrible. Oh, we're not going to make the playoffs and say all this stupid shit. But no, I'm going to say this: Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2023. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2023. That's what I'm going to say instead. All right, let's see. All right, I love all the comments today. They're really good, astute observations. And I like how nobody is really sewering the team. It could be real easy for you guys to come in and just like really dump on some of our guys right now. But that's not what we do here. G saying Barnes needs to stay closer to the net. He's too close to the 3-point line, and it's affecting his rebounding and putback amazing abilities. If they're going to call touch fouls in the paint, the Raptors just need to make them hard, in my opinion. Bad as that sounds, at least teams will hesitate just running into the paint. Yeah. And even if we get a little bit of a reputation as being dirty, I don't mind this. Charles Oakley philosophy of defense is I'm all about that. You come into the paint, that's used to be the rules. You come in the paint, you get put on the floor. That's just how it is. You're going to come into our paint, well, you're going to get put on the floor. And I like this idea. We don't want to hurt anybody, but we do want to send a message, and we definitely want to foul them hard enough so that they're not completing the shot and getting a 3-point opportunity. So there's some real benefits to what G is suggesting as far as being paint enforcers and making them think twice. Now, certain players on our team can do this really well. Certain players cannot. Like, we don't want Coloco or Dalano or Chris doing this kind of stuff. Although Chris probably could do it at this stage in his vet career. But guys like OG and Thad and Scottie, they can do this. And they should probably do this. I would be okay with this. Now, they may cause some fights. They may get some people really mad with them taking a couple of hard shots on people. But they could get a reputation for this, and it could be kind of scary to people, and it could precede them, and it could be good in a way also. So I see. As far as Barnes with his defensive spacing, yes. Gee, you're catching it right on the nail on the head, is that he's too far out. Like, if you're going to be our defensive center, Scottie, you really got to anchor the paint. And you're getting drawn out, and this may have been part of the design by the Thunder to try and do. You're getting drawn away and opening it up. And it's you really trying to cheat and come out on 3-point shooters. I don't think we were very organized with our defensive schemes last night. It seemed like the guys weren't really clicking with the right way that they're supposed to rotate and where they were supposed to be, because there was no help to help people that were getting beat. And there was a lot of like standing there and seeing guys, oh, they just went by me and laid it in. And that's a big problem. That says that they're not locked in, they're not ready, and they're not clicked in with each other. And that is a big part of why our defense looked so bad last night. Scott B saying hard to overcome the 8 versus a 5 at night in, night out. That being said, we didn't play our best. Raptors are the best team, and the NBA hates it. Scott B, I love what you're saying. Yeah, it's not easy to beat the refs and the other team, and I won't disagree with you that the refs weren't a problem last night. They were, but ultimately we can only blame ourselves as in this one. Shane saying, haha, he's laughing at it. M. Jones is saying, at G, that would be a good start. Yeah. G saying, Birch's paint presence and screening abilities are very underrated. Since you have spoken on him, I really noticed the difference. It's just something about clamping it down near the basket. If Birch, if I forget about Precious and Pascal, I really think that Birch was the guy we missed the most last night. Sure, Pascal would have made things a lot easier offensively in different ways. And sure, Pascal, maybe Precious would have brought some more energy, and maybe he would have been some sort of factor. But Cam, for sure, would have been a huge factor in the game last night, just for stopping people around the basket, because he really does do that when he's out there. Nako saying point guard Scottie, shooting guard Gary, small forward OG, power forward Chris, and center Coloco. What if we put OG at power forward and put Chris at small forward? That's the only thing I would change. I want Chris to be the 3, and OG can be the strong 4. Yeah, but I like that lineup, and that may be who we see start tonight. That may very well be the starting lineup against the Pacers tonight. Isaac saying, I would start Dowtin at point guard and move Scottie to forward where we need him to play big. May sound crazy, but Dowtin in half-court set is next man up best. if Fred VanVleet ain't playing. I won't disagree with this, Isaac. I'm a huge fan of Jeff Dowtin Jr., and the evidence is there from last night's game against Westchester Knicks. He directed that team and led them as the floor general on a big-time surge to overcome a deficit to coming back and win the game at the last second by 1 point. Jeff Dowtin was really the floor leader, the floor general. Now, Malachi's on the pecking order a little bit above, and he is more familiar with our team with more years experience. And Dalano is on the pecking order a little bit above also. So, and I don't know if Jeff Dowtin was traveled to Indiana from Toronto last night. Could be that the 905 guys are available down there. I don't think they're playing anytime soon again. So it could be that they're there with them, and maybe they come in as reinforcements to help, because we could really use Jeff Dowtin to be there just as an extra body, because we didn't have a lot of guys. Like you said, we didn't have an end of the bench to play last night. We had to play our bench at the end of the game. Let's see. Peter is here. Peter Saborin is here. Let me see what Peter's saying. I'm sorry, Raptors fans. I just can't watch another season of this. Okay, Pensair, you go on then. You go watch other teams and get all into them. Cover them more. You just ignore us. If you don't want to cover us right, just don't cover us at all. So you go on and go home, Peter Pensair. You're awesome, Peter. I love you guys. You guys are funny. Scott B saying their BIG outplayed Coloco. I know. He's not even that big. What is that dude? He's a slender man. How did he beat us? How did Poku beat us? How did we let this happen, Nick Nurse? I know that you like him. You think he's a very interesting, cool player. You said that in the past. Like that Poku guy is really good and interesting. Why did you let him beat us then, Nick? You should have had something for him. I don't like this. I do not like that. G saying there's a group blaming Fred as a point guard. My question is, why is that on him? If Barnes is to play point guard, Fred can still play shooting guard, but then Gary is on the bench, and that's the issue. I don't like this blame. That's not even, we don't even have to do that either. Because of the makeup of the starting lineup, you don't change anybody. You just switch Gary to small forward. You got Scottie at point, you play Freddie at shooting guard, and you play Gary at small forward because he can play the three also. And with Scottie at the number one, we still have the size because we can put a real 4 and 5 in there. And with Scottie, he's the other forward on defense, and then you still have the backcourt. So it's semantics. It really is at this point. Who's carrying the ball and which lineup, and what Gary doesn't have to go to the bench just because Scottie's at point guard. That doesn't make any sense totally to me. I know the people that are coming after Fred, once again, they're either fans of other teams. They've hated Fred for a long time. They just don't have any respect or understanding why he is so good and important to our team. And in fact, he was one of the only bright spots last night because he was able to carry a little bit of water last night. He was 5 for 12, 3 of 7 from threes, but he did hit some key threes that looked really good at times. 15 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. I like what Fred did out there as far as being steady Freddie in moments. For periods of time, steady Freddie was present, but it wasn't enough, and it wasn't overwhelming, or he wasn't able to control the tempo of the game or control the game in the ways that he has in the past. And that was part of it. And I think it's partly because he was sick. He didn't feel well. He wasn't 100%. So anybody who's blaming Fred isn't a friend of mine, and to me isn't a real Raptor fan. You go ahead and blame Fred all you want, but I don't understand how you could blame Fred right now for what's happening with what's going on. The games before this one, he had absolutely lights out games, around 30 points each of those games. And then last night, he's sick. So how can you blame him? I don't understand this. Let's see. G saying 1 player game. There may be a roster issue or just players need to adapt to new roles. Yeah. And I think those are good points too. M. Jones. Vanessa James is here again. Good to see you, Vanessa, on another morning. Scottie seems passive, hanging out at the 3-point line. Has one of the rebounders on the court. He has the opportunities with Pascal and Precious out. Yeah. Like we said earlier, this may be part of it, is that Pascal draws so much attention on the offensive end that it's really divided more equally among Fred, Gary, OG, and Scottie in his absence. And that is the extra defensive pressure that our guys are having to battle against. That is easier when Pascal's there. And this is part of why they look like they're struggling to different levels, each of them, is that the absence of Pascal makes their lives harder on the offensive end for sure. And I don't like where Scottie was. Scottie wasn't engaged in the game. I don't know if he was distracted. I don't know if he was He just didn't seem dialed in. Let's just put it that way. He didn't seem like he was on top of things. Maybe he wasn't totally, his mind wasn't totally on the game. Like he maybe was thinking about other things or something, but he didn't have the right focus in the first half, at least. The second half, he had better focus, but in the first half, his focus was really poor around the court. And that's not normally like him. He's a very highly perceptive player that can read everything so quickly, but he wasn't reading things last night. He was really passive. He was standing around. He wasn't reacting. He wasn't moving. He wasn't reading things ahead of the other things happening so that he can have an advantage. He was very much behind. It was the opposite. And that's not normal Scotty. And it may be that he's frustrated with himself. And maybe he has to just change like a mindset that he had at the beginning of the game to like being more like the mindset he had after halftime. That he's got to go get it. And he's got to be absolutely aggressive, especially in the absence of Pascal and Precious. Mike saying Bo Cruz got time off after the Eurobasket and is working back into game shape like Otto and Thad. Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, a little bit. Although he's working hard in practice, he's doing stuff. He wasn't at Rico Hines. He was at Eurobasket. I don't know. We'll have to see. Isaac saying my argument is we are asking too much of too much of Scottie Barnes right now with injuries. Dowtin will likely play some point guard. Well, we want a safety net. It's true. Scottie can be a little wild as the point guard, and it's not totally the most stable look with Scottie running point. He can be fantastic and make crazy, awesome plays, but he can also make boneheaded rookie kind of turnovers. Also, not being a point guard too much in the NBA level. So yeah, and maybe Jeff is a little more consistent and steady in protecting the ball, but I don't know. Hopefully Jeff will be there in Indiana. I'd like to see those 905 guys called up and over there helping them because we're going to need them, especially if Fred is not available tonight. We're going to just need the bodies. G saying they have scouted Scottie and now have defensive schemes against him. He is not able to get to his spots as easily. Like Lex said, this is normal. He will adapt and excel. Yeah. He's got all the tools to succeed and do this. It's just reacting and understanding and knowing more and more the NBA way and how things go. And this happens. Well, you adjust in this way and you do this. And then he'll learn it by second nature in a couple of years. He'll understand, well, okay, when this situation happens in this instant on this time in this court, I will react in this way because I've had success when I did it this way. Right now, he's got to try different things and see if he gets success or failure. And some of the things he's doing right now, he's finding more failure than success. And we just have to be patient and understand this is part of developing in basketball. This isn't that somebody's washed or they suck or they're having a horrible thing or this. This really is developing in basketball. You have ups and downs and different levels of production. And that his production may not be good in some games, but he may have learned a whole lot and it may be very good for the future in the long term. It's just that he didn't have a good game on paper and everybody's dumping on him. But wow, he had a light bulb in the middle of the game and he learned something and he'll apply it to future games and he'll get better and better. That is the kind of mentality we should have about Scottie and his offense right now, is that he's trying things out. He's having mixed results of success and failure. And he's learning from it, and it'll make him all better for the future. All right, let's keep going. Ken A saying Scottie is definitely hurt. Dude is not even walking straight. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they all have nagging injuries to a degree usually, but it's not that it's keeping him out of the lineup. And I don't see him really hobbling or anything. I think that it's just a lack of concentration and focus. Like I said, I don't think it is that kind of. I don't think it is that he's hurt. I'm going to say this again and again. No, he's not hurt. Scotty's not hurt. He's not hurt. I don't believe it. It's lies. It's lies. He's not hurt. That's my whole stance this whole week when everybody said, oh, Scotty's hurt. That's why he's not playing well. No, he's not playing well because he's trying new stuff, and it doesn't come easy. Mike saying Gary is trying to grow his playmaking and passing. Not gonna lie, the things I said in the summer, what's next for each guy? OG off the dribble, Scottie, Pascal, three ball, Gary playmaking, passing, Fred health. Okay, so a lot of your predictions are coming true. Here's Mike tooting his own horn again. That's good, Mike. I'm glad. Listen, if you're astute and you can make these observations like Chev, myself, you're having some success with your predictions. That's fantastic. That means you do know what you're talking about. And I ain't going to hate on that, but you are tooting your horn. It's all good. G saying Pascal takes on so much defensive pressure. Yes. Yes. And that's part of, like, look, this is part of it too. Like, think about when Pascal had to become that guy after Kawhi left, and how much of a transition period there was then, and how awkward it was, and how tough he had different things happening trying to figure this out. That's part of the journey. And these guys are all on it to in different places on the journey at different. If Pascal's a little further along, he's more established, and that way he can operate and take that much attention and be successful still. But he wasn't that successful in the beginning when he had that much responsibility, and we are really leaning on him heavy. He was hit and miss, and it was frustrating at times. Well, think about it from that perspective when you're thinking about Scottie in this instance, because it's a very, very similar thing. Very, very is. Nameless is saying our goal is to maintain 500 and keep our head above water and weather this storm until Siakam returns. Yes, perfect goal, Nameless. And if we can do this, this will be very good, because a lesser team would go on a losing streak right now. And we want to show that we can weather this kind of stuff. Next man up mentality, and allow development and growth for guys behind them in the pecking order. G's saying apparently Pascal is top in the league in getting out of doubles. This helps open up other players tremendously. They are not used to not having that open space to operate like when he is on the court. Yeah, he really helps everybody a lot, and he does pass out of those doubles a lot, and they find easy baskets that way. A lot of these shots on the perimeter, 3-point shots that we get, are kickouts from Pascal being doubled, and he's finding Gary right there, and they're boom, Gary. That's easier shots for Gary, and boom, Gary's production is up. There's part of the puzzle piece that is missing, is Pascal kicking it out to Gary from a double team, and Gary gets an easy 3-pointer right there. Boom. Nameless is saying there's always going to be 3 to 5 blowouts in a given season. Doesn't mean your team is bad and must be blown up. Exactly, Nameless. This is not indicative of us. And anybody who wants to go with this narrative and say this is the real Raptors, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. You're crazy, and you're not a fan. Shut up. Tom Duke is speaking in his language. Let's see if I know how to translate his language of the emoticon emoji world. Looks like raining, and then there's a rain, but there's a sun kind of peeking out behind the cloud, and then the sun is kind of there, but it stopped raining and still peeking behind the cloud, and then the sun is just there. So I really think that Tom is trying to get across that there may be rainy days, but the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that today they will play much better, much better. I love you, you Raptors. You've only got to play a better way. There's your teacup, teapot, teacup, thumbs up. Raptor 2023 NBA champions. Say it again. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2023. It may sound really weird this morning and like, yeah, you're crazy. But let's still say it and put it out there in the ether of manifesting it. I'm saying Annie today. That is fucked up. This is how bad last night was. I'm singing songs from Annie. Oh, I hate Annie. All right, let's keep going. Isaac saying, when your top 3 defensive planks are all injured, Pascal, Birch, and Precious, you learn and grow without. Yeah. I mean, this is the tough thing. We didn't just have no beef. What was this? We couldn't stop anybody. There was no physicality. When you got Alexei Poku messing you up, you can't push that man around. He's like a willow. He's a willowy wisp. You can just push him over. Nobody want to push over a Poku last night. What is this? You got to catch them all. You got to catch that Poku. Yeah, got to catch them all. We didn't catch any of the Pokemon on the Poku Express last night. What is this? Why couldn't we catch Poku? Where was our Ash? Where was our little Pokeball? Catch him. Got to catch them all. I'm doing Annie, and now I'm doing Pokemon. I've obviously lost my mind. All right, let's keep going. Fiercey's saying some guys look like they didn't even want to be there, not focused. Yeah, I hate this think that it's that extreme, but they were definitely not focused. Maybe it is just sucks in Oklahoma. Like they went to the state of Oklahoma and they're like, this fucking sucks here. And like, I don't want to be here. Well, don't act like it on the court. It's not because they don't want to be on the team. They don't want to be in Oklahoma City. Logical saying Pokemon man, Pokemon man. Yeah, I did a little Pokemon song. It's good. Seymour saying morning family. No words can explain yesterday atrocities. I'm envisioning Seymour Pape as a voiceover artist for like a Vietnam documentary. He's like, there's morning family. No words can explain yesterday. Atrocities. Horrible game. Atrocities. Oh my gosh. It's like there's bodies in the field or something. Oh my gosh. That's horrible. Horrible game by our boys, but we got to bounce back tonight. And that's the great thing about the NBA. They bounce the ball bounces back into their hand, it gets off the floor, bounces back. Well, we bounced in a bad way last night. We bounce back and we get another game as a blessing to us. This is a blessing to us that we can play a game already right now, today. Let's get it over and done with and get this fucking game from last night out of our heads. Let's get a better feeling. Even if we lose, but it's by a closer margin, we worked so hard and just barely lose, I'll be happy with that because that's even a palate cleanser like that. But we need to win. We need to be like Masai Ujiri. What are we here for? Why are we in Indiana? We are here to win. What did we come here for? We came here to win. And then we just need to be that guy. That W is the only thing that matters. It can be ugly as fuck, but it doesn't matter as long as we are on the higher board on the scoreboard. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right, Seymour, let's go 100% for Seymour Pape. Sheriff Seymour Pape, he's got the wrench and he is not afraid to use it. Mike saying that's the league. New things work. When the league gets tape and attack the weaknesses, then the player has to develop more than works well against till the league gets tape and adjust. It's the way it is. It's exactly right. It's like they scout pitchers in baseball. They understand their tendencies. Then they try and play a different way at the plate when they're trying to hit them. You know, it's a very similar thing. Now, one of the things that happened last night, Mike, and I think you'll agree with me in this, is not only did they have tape on Scottie Barnes or any individual player on our team, they have tape on our team. And Oklahoma City in some ways broke our system and how we play and our identity and who we are by figuring out very, very, very smart offensive schemes with cuts and really quick passes. And then on the defensive end, just a really annoying, high tempo, high energy, crowding you, making you uncomfortable kind of defense. That found a lot of success in this. And I hope that other teams like Indiana today don't look at the tape and say, oh, let's just do what the Thunder did, because they kind of scouted us and broke our team concept in some ways. Well, we can fix this with the right effort and energy matching it. But in some ways, this is a great tape for other teams playing against us to see where they can find some success and mimic it. So now it's on Nick Nurse to make the adjustments, get the team effort out of the team to stop this from being replicated by other teams. They can go look at this Thunder tape and they'll be like, oh, this is what they did to the Raptors and it worked so good. And they can try and do it. Well, we need to have solutions for when another team tries this kind of shit on us and be ready for it. Rap's got to come out strong to start tonight for sure, Tom Duke. For sure. That is an understatement, my friend. That very much is. Top saying, if you're on the court, that means the Raps doctors okayed it. Scottie needs to play way more aggressively offensively. The passes will present themselves. Yeah. We can pick apart Scott more and more. I don't want to at this point. We understand what's going on here. You're trying to change your offensive game. It's not going exactly smoothly, and it isn't other stuff. You're just trying that stuff, and it's gonna. I would like him to be more aggressive, but maybe it's not totally within his natural nature at this point in his career. Maybe he needs to get that mean side like OG and Pascal, and this is the mean side how it will manifest. Is being a more selfish, aggressive offensive player and going to get his. But yeah, I agree with this top. I want Scottie to play more aggressive also, even if he may be hurt or not. If he's out there, he might as well just go all out. Seymour saying, small quick guards are exposing our team. We're a wing heavy. Maxi effect is showing clear as day. We need a quick guard. No knock on Fred or Gary. Well, Malachi should have came in and fixed all that then, if it's something like that. Maybe this is another case for why we need Jeff Dowtin with this team right away and with them maybe all the time. Mason saying rough game last night. We need to bounce back tonight. Thank you, Mason Culligan. Good to see you this morning. Mike saying Lex, great songs. I was trying like a man bear pig, like Poku Monstar man. Man bear pig. Yeah, he is kind of like man bear pig. That's a great South Park reference. Poku Monstar man. He's weird. He's just a weird dude. I mean, if you saw him on the street, you probably wouldn't be like, that guy plays basketball. You probably wouldn't be like that. It's like, that's just a weird dude I see at Walmart, is what he looks like to me. He's like, that dude looks like a weird dude I see at Walmart. It was like, no, that's a basketball player. That's Poku. He plays for the Thunder. Top and Top saying Banton doesn't look like an NBA player. His passing is horrid. His handle is weak. He's getting blown by consistently. His intensity and focus this year leaves a lot to be desired. Ooh, that cuts deep. I won't say it's completely wrong, but I will say that it's kind of unfair. Now, he's a young player, and he's got it exposed last night specifically. And that's the thing. He's just got to clean it up and change and make the adjustments. He looks like a qualified player at other times. It's just he had a really bad night last night. Some lapse of judgments, didn't play all out. And he did piss me off last night. Him and Thad at one point made me very angry. Hugh is here. Good to see Hugh Rection. Raptors probably had their worst defensive performance last night. Offense was so inconsistent as well. I really want to see Jeff Dowtin come off the bench. Yeah, both ends of the court, horrible, absolutely horrible. Sucks. Seymour saying there is no cake walks this season. You can't go in thinking easy win. You got to want the win. Stay hungry. Stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty, my friends. What are you, Captain Morgan commercial? Seymour paid. Stay thirsty, my friends. Yeah, okay, sure. You can work that advertising in there. I think it's true. We got to stay hungry. There's no cakewalks. There's no easy teams. None of these teams at the bottom are easy. Orlando, Oklahoma City, Houston, none of these teams. San Antonio, you think they're easy? You think Indiana's going to be easy? No, none of these teams are easy. We've got to bring the right effort, the correct scheme, and execute, and then we will be all right. Isaac saying this game makes you understand that Pascal's a top 5 player. Rest up our NBA Finals 2023 MVP. NBA Finals 2023 MVP Pascal Siakam. NBA Finals 2023 MVP Pascal Siakam. Yeah, speaking into existence, Isaac Campbell, we will. Mike saying facts. Team play is another tape adjustment cycle. And Nurse is the only one they're watching and copycatting. But yeah, the OKC tape is now the number 1 tape to watch before playing the Raps. Yeah, but you know what? We can fuck that up real quick with Precious being back or Pascal. That changes everything about that. That tape doesn't exactly exist with those guys on the court. Shane Waters is saying that Toronto Raptors 2023 NBA champions, just put it into existence. It could look so ugly right now, and it could be also the more sweeter, the juice from the berry at the end of the year. The lumps of going up and down throughout the whole course of the season, all the ups and downs. And when you finally get to that promised land, you got that second Larry O'Brien championship here in Toronto. Ooh, it's going to be so sweet. You will hear me sing it on this stream. Oh, yes, I will. I will sing on that day. Paul B is definitely missing Spicy P. Heal up, Spice. So get that spice healed up, Pascal. We need that spice back. Tom Duke saying Pacers head into this game with 3 days of rest. This is an important thing to distinguish. And I'm glad you brought it up, Tom. I was going to say this as part of the preview is that they have not played since Wednesday. This is a trap game, y'all. They are fully healthy and healed. Oh, actually, they're not fully healthy. Let me look at their injuries. Chris Duarte is actually out, y'all. He has a grade 2 ankle sprain that he got a week or so ago, but he's still out. Daniel Tice actually just went under surgery on his right knee. He is going to be out indefinitely, so we're not going to see Daniel Tice tonight. And Trevelyan Queen didn't play in the game against Sioux Falls with a knee injury, but I don't know if that means he's not available for the big squad tonight. But really, it's Duarte is the main important player, and we don't like Daniel Tice, so that's nice that he's gone. But we're going to see a lot of shooters tonight. And these young Indiana Pacers, Andrew Nebhard and Ben Mathurin, both Canadians. And then you got Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Jalen Smith, Miles Turner, TJ McConnell, Isaiah Jackson, Aaron Nesmith, O'Shea Brissett, Goga Bizadza. And James Johnson's on this team, y'all. Yeah, James Johnson's going to be on the team tonight. So, yeah, they've got a lot of shooters. So, a really important place to watch is the three-point line tonight. We really got to guard that three-point line well. And if we can not have an open door for Miles Turner to just operate down low, that would be smart. Raptors, if we could really kind of try and contain their big tonight, since we didn't do it last night. So it's going to be a handful for sure, Seymour. It's going to be a handful. You got the Raptors winning by 8. I love that. I love that mentality. It's like, yeah, you just saying the Raptors going to win by 8. I love that prediction. That's great. I love that so much. Yeah, so yeah, we got to contain Halliburton and Mathurin. Yeah, Mathurin's not playing as well recently. He's on my fantasy team, so I'm really paying attention to him. But he's had some major games so far this season, 30-point games, things like that. But it really is, it's certain nights it'll be Halliburton more kind of carrying the water, and some nights it is Ben Mathurin. So we're going to have to really watch the three-point line tonight, and hopefully we can have some good success. I hope that Seymour is right. We need that W tonight to just clean that ugly, nasty shit taste in our mouth right now from last night. We got to get a good gargle in, get that scope, and just clean that mouth out. We need to clean that dirty taste in it. Fiercely saying Nick Nurse post media availability. He's saying the team is battling an illness. The team, quote unquote, the whole team is battling an illness, and it's not COVID. This sucks. This is what happens. It's a war of attrition in the NBA. This is why, Kevin Durant gets hurt in the finals. This is the shit that happens in the NBA. You got to be ready to weather the storm. We lose Pascal. We lose Precious. We lose Kemp. We got our team battling the flu on the down low on a road trip right now. Yeah, this all sucks. Y'all wear winter clothes. I know it looks nice and sunny out there, team, but don't be running around like Florida boys, Florida City boys in the cold weather right now up north. Raptors, we got to have y'all stay safe and stay away from influenza, any kind of bug. I don't care about COVID. COVID, sure, we want to stay away from that also. But any kind of thing, we want y'all to stay healthy, full of echinacea, vitamin C, and ready to play. Maybe Scottie's a little bit under the weather himself. Hopefully Fred's not getting everybody sick. Who knows? But I don't like hearing this, and I hope everybody feels better today. Hugh's saying Pacers have a great team on paper. Definitely not an easy team. Coloco's going to have to tussle with Turner. Tussle with Turner. What great alliteration, Hugh. Thank you. They are a better team than they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be tanking for Victor. What are y'all doing? What are you doing, Indiana? Do you want Victor? Well, you're failing at it. Why do you want Victor or not? Do you? I don't think you do, because the way you're playing all out and winning big games recently. So, yeah, the Pacers have won some crazy ass games this season. They beat some big opponents. They beat Brooklyn. They beat Miami. They beat New Orleans. They beat Washington, and they beat the Pistons. Those are their 5 wins, and they have 6 losses. So, they played some pretty good teams and competed and played well with them. So this is going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game tonight. Hopefully we have a better outcome. Seymour saying, fiercely, if this is true, damn. Yeah, get that echinacea. Get some vitamin C for all of them. Let them sleep in this morning. Please, let them sleep in. I hope they're still sleeping right now, especially if they got in really late to Indiana. Top saying, I think Coloco is getting unfairly blamed for the poor perimeter defense in front of him. Apart from OG, the other guards haven't been great defensively. Can Dowtin Jr. get a shot already? Dowtin Jr.'s got a shot. He can shoot. Oh, you mean get a shot at playing? I was like, well, he can shoot. What do you mean? You mean you want him to get a shot at playing? Yeah, I agree with that. You're right. Coloco can only clean up so much, but also I've seen a little bit of what's happening with Scottie on defense with Coloco. He's out of position. He's getting caught in the wrong place. He's such a high aptitude and he's done so well right away. It's almost like beginner's luck. But there are ways that that his defense will hurt us because he is a little bit of a screen door. Like I said, he's a very skinny guy. It's not like he takes a lot of real estate in the lane. And that's the difference between him and Ken Burch. Ken Burch will take a piece of real estate and say, this is my real estate. You're not coming through me. Well, Christian can't do this completely right now. Is that he really is kind of like Aaron Baines kind of defense. It's like, I'm going to try and stop you and stay in between you and the basket. But I am so skinny, you could probably go right around me if I don't have the right effort to meet you at the spot and cut you off. And there's a lot of that happening with Christian right now, especially last night, where he's not meeting them at the spot or using his aptitude of knowing where they're going and meeting them ahead of time, because that's the thing that'll really help him. He's got to cut them off at the pass, like old Western style. Yeah, he's not getting to the pass. Seymour saying Udoka contract canceled, not going to Brooklyn. Yeah, he's not going to Brooklyn. He's under contract with Boston. I thought that was so fishy when that came out. There's no way he's going to the Nets. The Celtics won't let that happen. These press people just like making connections, lining them up. Oh, Winders can do it in his mind and with logic, but these people are just like making pipe dreams and making shit up. And you know what? We got an unfair, I mean, not an unfair, it's not unfair at all. It's totally fair. Backlash and receipts from Thunder Nation on Twitter last night. They're all in a huge campaign right now trying to tell us that Scottie Barnes is unhappy in Toronto and that he wants out. And they're just mirroring what we've been doing to them about SGA. And the SGA after the game said, yeah, I'm very happy here. Everything's fine. So stop manufacturing bullshit, Raptor fans. And why are we so thirsty for him anyway? Seriously, y'all, get some fucking like have some pride, or have some, like, you know, some respect for yourselves. This being so thirsty and throwing yourself at like SGA for Toronto stuff. The way you've been putting out bullshit on Twitter, we deserve the shit that Thunder Nation's saying to us right now. The bullshit that they're doing, turn around it against us. Yeah, because y'all have been out of pocket this whole time with all your talk about SGA since the summer. And we need to shut the fuck up about it, because there's no reality to it. Y'all are fan fiction people right now talking about SGA to the Toronto Raptors. And you just need to shut the fuck up about it. As a Raptor fan, I'm telling y'all, Raptor fans, give it up. Forget about SGA. Stop talking about him that you want him to come here. Stop coveting thy neighbor. It's just like what Nick said in the press conference. You know, when somebody asked him about, would you like SGA on this team? He said, I believe one of the tenements is that I do not covet a player on another team, and that he doesn't do that. And we shouldn't do that as a fan nation either. Until Bobby Webster officially gets somebody and says, they are a Raptor, y'all, now, because I've acquired them as the general manager of the Raptors, the only person who has the authority or the job description to do these kind of moves, then we should all just accept these are the Raptors, and the SGA ain't coming. And y'all need to shut the fuck up. You make us look bad. And it's totally warranted what Oklahoma City fans are saying to Toronto fan nation right now with the whole SGA bullshit that we've said to them. It's not fair, and we need to shut up. We're not thirsty for getting other people. So stop thirsting for SGA so hard, Raptors Nation. It's a bad look, and you make me look bad in association. That's what I'll say. Yeah. Shane Waters is saying, if you're looking for a perimeter D, don't call on Dowtin. I love his offensive game, but he can't play D. If he could, he would have had a chance. He's going to get a chance, though. He will. And his defense is a little bit better. I know, Shane, you've been critical of his defense since he showed up. I think that I don't know why you don't see he's just an average defender. He's not a horrible defender. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. We'll see. I don't know. Let's give him a chance. He needs a chance. Let's see. G saying Reggie Perry with the winning shot and the 905 was great. Yeah, it was. But we didn't need to depend on that to win that game. We could have won that game easily by closing it out at the free throw line. But Saban Lee's an idiot and can't hit his free throws. And then also he made a boneheaded play, which gave them an opportunity to score and go up on us with 2 seconds left in the game. If Reggie had not bailed out that game by winning that game at the very last second, it would have been a very disappointing loss that we should have won after making such a hard push to come back. So I'm not very proud of the 905 win last night because it wasn't clean, and they very much were lucky in how they won last night. So yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It wasn't a good win in some ways. It was great. I'm glad we won, but they were not clean at the end, and they really fucked up. Saban Lee in particular, he needs to make better decisions at the end of the game because he basically almost handed the game to Westchester. Peter's saying, oh my God, please don't compare a Raptor we like to Aaron Baines ever again. Good grief. Peter, I just have to say that the defense last night was like Tampa Bay Raptors defense. It really was. It was the same kind of defenses we had that year, the same kind of energy, same kind of results. Hugh saying Koloko should try to pump fake in the paint at times or use a little jump hook when he gets the ball near the basket. He just goes straight for the dunk and gets blocked or stripped. He'll learn. This is exactly right, Hugh. He's going to get more savvy to moves and how to beat guys. Right now, he's just doing textbook like vanilla. I'm going up. Oh, we know he's going up. Strip him the ball. You're exactly right. And it will take like pump fakes. It'll take maybe little like get the guy on your off shoulder and hooking it over your head. Kind of stuff. He's going to figure it out and he's going to work it out. He's going to be a very good offensive player. It's just he's going to have the same kind of journey like Pascal, OG, like Scottie. There's going to be mixed results of failure and success. And right now, there's a lot of failure. He hasn't even gotten the baseline of finishing through contact with a big, huge dunk and just coming up and rising up and throwing it down. Kind of like OG, what he does. He can finish with these big, huge dunks with like two guys around him. Well, Christian's got to be able to do that. In some ways, it's easier for him. If OG can do it, why can't you do it yet? Well, he's not experienced enough, and he will learn it. Seymour saying, whoever has Lakers pick is getting Victor. The Pelicans have it. So New Orleans is going to probably have Victor. It's insane. Somebody needs to stop these bad teams like the Lakers and the Nets and whoever the people have the pick rights that are other teams from being the worst team. There needs to be a team that isn't one of these teams where a good team has their pick getting Victor. I'm sorry, Lakers, you cannot be the worst team in the league. Y'all need to do better because you don't want New Orleans to get Victor. There is a reason for something to play for. Even if you guys aren't in the playoffs, you need to play for at least getting good enough to not have enough ping pong balls to get the first pick in the draft, Lakers. So if you can't do anything good this year as far as getting the playoffs or doing anything other than LeBron getting the scoring title of all time, stop New Orleans from drafting Victor. Do it somehow. And the great thing is you guys do it by winning, not by tanking. So y'all need to win some games and not be the absolute bottom of the barrel because we don't want this. New Orleans will be so good if they get Victor. It would be really messed up. Nameless is saying the future point guard is Scottie, not SGA. If you want to keep your future superstar happy, you're going to have to let him play his desired position, simple and plain. Yeah, you're right, Nameless. And that's what Scott wants to play. He wants to play point guard. And we can make it work with Fred, but I don't know if we can make it work with SGA. And like I said, just let this die. If anything we want to do from last night, if last night was a funeral, the way the game felt, you know what died in that casket we need to bury is the Raptors fan nation's affinity in pushing for getting SGA on our team. Can we put that in the casket and bury it? Because we don't deserve to talk like this after the way we lost last night. So fan nation, seriously, listen to me. Kill the SGA talk to Toronto and put it in the casket and bury it with that awful, ugly game last night. How about that? All right, let's keep going. I want to get to the end of the comments, and then I'm going to do all my preview stuff, y'all. Peter saying, not naming names, but it would be nice if we had a point guard the 5-minute delay is hopeless. And yes, everything last night was atrocious. The 5-minute delay is good because it makes me end at some time. We're almost at 2 hours and I haven't even done any of the ref check or anything like for the game tonight. So this is good. I need the 5 minutes. Just make sure you write big chunks, Peter. Shoot your shot in a big shot instead of a lot of little shots and quick. You're going to have to organize your thoughts and really think about what you want to say and write it out. Van Hoot is here. Good to see Van Hoot. We played like trash yesterday. That is not a lie. Fred VanVleet did not do a good job of running the sets. I want to see less of him as a primary ball handler. We will see that against the Pacers since he is out. Yeah, he's sick. And we can't totally base a whole bunch of what Fred did last night because if he was having a temperature and he's all congested and he's sick and he's running around out there, that may have affected his play last night. I won't agree with you. I mean, I won't disagree with you about him running less and less of the plays and being less and less of the point guard. I think this is right, and I think this is what's going to naturally evolve and happen. But he's our safety net. He's Steady Freddy. And until we get like a very consistent person to grab that baton from him and run things, he's going to have to still do this just to take care of things and keep things steady. So, it's a balance. He's going to have, it's not so cut and dry that just all of a sudden tomorrow or today, Fred shows up and he's absolutely not doing any point guard duties at all. No, that's never going to be the case. He's always going to be bringing the ball up to the court from time to time. It's just that it may be more heavily weighted towards Scottie bringing the ball up the court as time goes on. but he's always going to be there as an emergency valve or emergency option to bring the ball up the court and be a little bit more veteran savvy in some ways. But yeah, I can tell you don't like Fred. And you may be part of the noise that's adding to the anti-Fred kind of stuff right now, but that's okay. In some ways, he deserves it, but not really. Especially if he's been hurt, and that's part of the reason why he hasn't played well. But when he has been fully healthy, he's looked fantastic, like the 3 games before last night. Mike saying, salute Kenyon, no school today. Kenyon, no school today. It's Saturday. Hugh is saying, it's been hard to watch Dalano play. I love him on the Raptors because he's from Rexdale, but he cannot run in offense, and his defense is suspect. I think we should use Malachi as catch and shoot player. Sure. I think that's not a bad idea. In fact, I think that we may see Malachi get more run over Dalano just because he's been more consistently good this past week and dependable. And that, yeah, Dalano maybe needs to have a little bit of time to collect himself and come back with a better effort in certain ways. All right, let's get right into the ref check for tonight in Indiana. The referee crew is not bad tonight. It's Bill Kennedy is our head referee tonight. He's in his 26th season as a ref. His favorite musician is Luther Vandross, and he is a karaoke artist. He loves to sing karaoke. And if we're talking about the food, he wants a good filet mignon with a good bottle of red wine. Now, Bill Kennedy is one of the most favorable senior refs out of all the 20-plus year refs in the NBA for the Raptors. We win 56.6% of our games under him, and he's the highest out of all 25-year refs. So he's the nicest vet ref to us. That's over our whole existence, pretty much. We've won almost 57% of our games with him. Now, for the Pacers, it's 51.7%. So he does favor us more historically with the win percentage, but it's not that far off, 56.6 to 51.7. The second referee is Matt Boland. He is from Manchester, Connecticut. His favorite show is Seinfeld. He likes Tom Petty. He's a golf kind of guy. He loves golfing. He'd like to visit Scotland. His favorite meal is pizza. So he's on the lower end of like high-end Italian cuisine, pizza. And he is probably the worst ref for us tonight. He's the one who's not our friend. 48.8% is our win percentage under him. It's not that good. And then Indiana wins 55.6% under him. So Matt Boland, the middle ref, is the least friendly ref to us. Bill Kennedy's pretty good to us. Remember, Bill Kennedy is the referee who's out. It was Rajon Rondo who attacked him in the middle of the game and called him a faggot. And, well, Bill Kennedy turned around and said, yeah, I am. He came out of the closet after he said that. And then Natalie Sago is our third ref, Kyle's favorite friend. We know Natalie. This is her 6th year as an NBA ref. Her favorite meal is also pizza. So maybe we have a pizza party in Indiana. Somebody orders some pizza and deliver it to Conseco Fieldhouse and say that this is for Natalie and Matt. That'd be great. Her favorite musician is Pink, and she likes juggling. She's a juggler. She actually has a hidden talent as a juggler. Now, Sago's record with us is even. We have a 6-6 record with her refereeing, exactly 50%. And meanwhile, on the other end of the court, this is interesting. The Pacers have played 9 games with Natalie Sago as a ref, and they've only won 1 of them. So they have an 11.1 win percentage under Natalie Sago. So this is good. She's actually a good ref for us tonight. So Bill Kennedy and Natalie are great refs for us. Matt Boland, the golfer in the middle, is kind of eh. So, but I like this ref crew. This is a very friendly ref crew to us. I don't think there'll be any manipulation either way for either team. That it really will be kind of called down the line. So the ref crew's A+ pizza party tonight, y'all. Let's pizza party, pizza party, pizza party. Okay. Van Hoot is saying it's been several games where the ball has had poor movement without skills and Fred VanVleet having higher usage. Can't blame that on him being sick. Taking shots with 20s on the clock, not anti-Fred VanVleet pro B movement. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm trying to remember what the several games are that you're saying where the ball had poor movement, because we won the game against Houston. We on Chicago the second day, sure. The first game against Chicago wasn't bad. I don't know about this movement thing because even in the Houston game, these guys were really in touch with each other, and there was a lot of synergy, and there was a lot of great lobs. There's a lot of great passing. So I think that the synergy has been pretty good. It's just the assist numbers don't reflect that. That they had like seriously, how many dunks did OG have on Wednesday night? He like broke a record for Raptor dunks or something in a game. He had like 6. He was up there with Keon Clark with like getting dunks in a game for something that he did. So I don't know. Each one of these games is different. It's not like you can really say we've been one kind of team over the last stretch of games. Last night was a very abnormal game. And then I would say Houston and the Chicago games were more in the middle and the average of where we're at. And we won 2 out of those 3 games. And really, that game in Chicago on Monday was Zach LaVine fresh legs and Billy Donovan adjusting, and us taking them maybe a little lackadaisical, lightly in the next game. I mean, you can't really read trends in what's happened recently with the Raptors. In fact, with how high up they were the week before with the Atlanta and the San Antonio game to some of the stuff that's happened this week, it's so up and down. So I can't really say that you can say that this is the trend or this is this with anything. So the first part of your statement, I can't really understand because I can't say that there's any kind of like trend because it's all over the place. And then, yeah, you can blame things on being sick. If you're sick, you don't have the same energy. You don't have the same kind of wherewithal or get up. If you feel like shit, it's going to affect everything. So, of course, you can blame being sick. If Fred was sick and he's congested, he has hard trouble bringing oxygen into his body. So I'm glad that he even played last night. It sounds like he maybe shouldn't even played last night, but he made an effort. And he got out on the court and gave it a good try because he knew we were in a bad place with a couple guys already missing. So I don't know. I don't know what your agenda is here exactly, Van Hoot. And what is it that you want accomplished? Because I feel like this is all kind of naturally happening anyway. Fred's relegating the point guard duties to Scottie slowly but surely. But maybe it's not happening fast enough for your schedule? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about here. Anyway, Nameless is saying, I agree. Scottie is not ready for the baton at point guard just yet. Probably not for another year or two. Well, we can't say when. We could say it could be maybe a year or two, but it could be next month. That's the thing. These guys are so quick at learning and getting better. It may be not consistently here next month, but we could see it on display for one whole game and be like, wow, that is what we're talking about with him doing that. But it may be that like I said, we have to be allowing for failure and success in batches with young developing guys who are trying to develop new aspects of their game. Mike's saying fair, but without Siakam taking attention, he's getting the best defense plan against him in his play making. Not gonna lie, Fred isn't a number one guy. Siakam out is huge at the moment, for sure. For sure. I am not going to disagree with this. Pascal makes us so much better and makes it so much easier for everyone else. And Fred isn't a number one guy because of his size and the way he plays. He really has to be kind of helped to get his shots and get open and make his shots. He has to play off other people. So him being more of a shooting guard is a natural kind of thing that'll help. And it's just naturally happening. But yeah, we need somebody to take more attention away. And maybe Scottie does still need to go bully them and just beat them over the head, but he needs to be realizing as soon as he gets like 2 or 3 guys hanging on him, he's got to be trying to pass it out because obviously somebody's open somewhere. And maybe he's just trying right now to really force it over whatever odds are against him with defenders around him. Whereas that could be part of the change too, is like he gets more savvy at beating them with the offensive move to beat them how he needs to, or he gets more savvy with passing out of the double team to get the open shot for his teammate. And maybe that balance isn't exactly right now because he really is trying to learn how to do it himself with his own move. But maybe in the future, as soon as he gets those doubles down low, he's kicking it right out. And that's way easier in some ways. So, all right, let's see. Pizza party from Tom Duke. I love to see it. A pizza party is always fun. Van Hoot, Scottie ran point at times and had more touches than Fred last night. In fact, games where Fred doesn't shoot as much and Pascal is off is when they get blown out. Yeah, they need Fred to shoot. And the way they need him to shoot is not him creating his own shot. They need to draw attention and kick it out to him and let him just have that open shot. That is the best way for him to make it. G saying that YouTuber that said Pascal having higher usage is hurting Barnes, but the statistically reality is since Pascal has been off, Barnes' usage and production has gone down. Yeah, isn't that kind of weird and fishy? Is he taking away from Scottie growing and developing? No, maybe he's actually helping it because he takes more of the pressure off of him, and we're seeing more of the pressure. You're talking about Penzer. Van Hoot saying assists have been down. Houston, we were stuck in the mud until midway through the game. Time per possession has increased too. At G with skills out, Barnes should be running it the most, need the reps. Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I want Scottie to be the point guard. I want him to run things. We want the same thing, Van Hoot. I think we're just having a little bit of a difference in semantics as far as things with here. Assists has just been down for the Raptors for a couple years now. We haven't had good assist numbers for years now, a couple years, like maybe 3 years. That's why I'm really pushing for this year. Last year was a defensive-oriented year, learning our defense, really focusing on that end of the court. This year is more offensive-minded, trying to figure out our offense and get better at it. Well, the assist number needs to go up. And that's why every game I'm pointing at the assist total for the team. And are we at 25 or above? Because that's my watermark. If we get to 25, I feel good about how much we were assisting. We don't get to 25, then I feel like they're not sharing the ball enough with each other and getting assist numbers up. So I agree with this. We definitely need to increase our assists because honestly, our assist totals have been horrible all of last year, the year before that, and this year for the most part so far. There have been some games where we've gotten the right amount of assists, and it's looked better though also. And it's not exactly what you're saying either. It's like it's a mix of sometimes Scottie is the point guard, sometimes Fred has been directing things, and our assist numbers have been very high. Sometimes it's a very good mix between all of them. Because in some ways, what I'm trying to get Raptors fans to stop doing is like think so much by the positions. Because, like, look, we can say Scottie's the point guard and Fred's the shooting guard, but that's not totally true. There's going to be bleeding over of roles. Like Scottie may be the point guard on this possession down, but Fred's the point guard on the next alternating possession down, or maybe Pascal is on the next time down the court. So it's really we got to stop putting boxes and limits and saying this is the point guard. He just does point guard stuff, and that's all. That's not the way this is. This is a Morpheus blob of everybody does different skills at all different times and different things. And somebody may be doing that skill at one time down the court. And then the next time down the court, another dude is doing the very same duty. This is very anti-old NBA where John Stockton is just your point guard and he throws it to Karl Malone and they do a pick and roll. This is, we have like 4 or 5 guys that can be our point guard and bring the ball across the court and initiate the offense. And that's what we were saying. We can't like box things in and say, this is just who he is. This is just it. A bunch of these guys can be everything all at once, all together, all at the same time. That's the thing. We got to be open to the idea of anything is possible and not confine people with boundaries or roles or limits because they all can do a lot of the different stuff. Let's see. Nameless is saying the Raptors' ability to win and develop simultaneously is indicative of their ability to have veterans at key positions such as Fred at point guard. I like that, and that's true. A lot of teams cannot win and develop at the same time consistently and at a clip like 60% of wins. G saying Barnes does run it at times, and he passes it off to feed at the top of the key. I know people want to shield Barnes, but he had more touches than Fred last night. Yeah. Listen, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to blame game? Or are we trying to talk about who should get what responsibilities and what? I don't want to do either one. I mean, we can blame Scottie for a poor effort last night, sure. But there were some things he started to wake up and start to do later. It showed that he really did care and he was trying harder later, but he did not try in the first half. That's for sure. G saying exactly. It's a process for Scottie to be a full point guard and he defers to Fred a lot. It will evolve naturally. And I think most people want to see Barnes run it, but there's a learning curve too, for sure. For sure. And Mike is backing you up on the facts. On the usage and G, they're back and forth. Okay. People think a player can just slot into a spot when the reality is it takes time. All right, let's do the real mascot matchup. Yesterday, we saw the Raptor land on a cushy moss bed. Fine from things, but now a storm's rolling in. There's very much a huge thunderhead. This is a very bad storm, very, very severe thunderstorm. And the Raptor is like, well, I need to get the hell out of here, the woods, because the woods is unsafe to be under trees because they could get struck by lightning and I could get zapped myself. So the Raptor gets out of the woods and he finds a road and he's kind of walking down the road and the thunder's going on and it's kind of striking near him. And it's a little scary. He's like, wow, that is really dangerous. It's really scary. He's kind of walking down the street and there's a car coming in the distance coming towards him. And he's kind of like sees the car and then all of a sudden he doesn't see anything. It's like a flash. And then he smells like burnt lizard and he's on the ground and he got struck by thunder. Yeah, he got severely struck by thunder. In fact, he might have gotten directly struck by thunder in the worst possible way that you can get struck by lightning and thunder. Yeah, the Raptor got struck that bad by it last night. And boom, he's on the ground and he's like kind of like a cartoon. Like he's not really cartoon because this is a real thing, but he's like smoldering. He is like literally burning. His body is burning because he got struck by lightning, thunder, and he's out. He's on the ground and he's kind of sizzling a little bit. Well, the car's coming up still, and it's actually an ambulance, y'all. What great luck that the Raptor gets struck by lightning on a road, and there's an ambulance that's actually coming towards him, and they get out and they see him, and they're really worried because he's kind of on fire still, and he's kind of charred up, and he looks real bad, like he might be dying. So the EMT is basically like, we got to save his life. And they get the gurney and they get him up on the gurney and they're like, his heart has stopped. Well, let's get the pace maker, or the pace booster, or whatever, the pacer. And let's try and see if we can zap him back to life. So let's see. Is the EMT going to be able to zap the Raptor back to life after being struck by thunder? And get him back to life with the pacer thing. That's not what they're called, are they? The EKG. It's like zat zat. I don't know. Anyway, there's your real mascot matchup. Let's see if this dogger can get some life back into the life of the Raptor by zapping it back into him. There you go. There's your real mascot matchup. All right. Van Hoot is his next reply is no agenda. I've called for off-ball Fred. That's it. Skills is needed. Saying I'm anti-Fred is wrong. Fred cannot create for others at the level of Skills and Barnes. Somebody patented that usage when it went down without Skills. Okay. I mean, listen, I don't know. It's just there's a lot of anti-Fred sentiment out there. And we're very vigilant about this here. We're a little crazy here. And we don't like any kind of negative talk about any of the players or the team. And that's why we'll attack you if you do kind of come at people like that. So it's really kind of good to measure. If we're being critical, and we can talk about it in a real way. But we're very sensitive to the anti-Fred hate this season so far because there's been a lot of it and we don't agree with it. We stand with Fred. We believe in Fred. I agree with whatever they're doing with Fred. They want to continue to let him play point guard. I'm okay with it. They want to move more to Scottie away from him. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with whatever they do with Fred because I trust in Nick and them. They're going to make the decisions. It's like part of it is we don't have any control over this. Let's just let it happen naturally. It's kind of like we're sitting at home with the popcorn and we just get to watch. And I feel like sometimes us and the fan nation, we think we can power or strong arm the coach by having a popular sentiment. And then all of a sudden they maybe do it. But otherwise, I'm like, let's just let it happen naturally. And if his judgment is to put Steady Freddie out there to be steady for whatever role or whatever thing that they need him to do at that moment, I trust in Nick Nurse. Just like I trust in Masai, I trust in Bobby, I trust in Alex McKechnie, I trust in Nick Nurse to make the right decisions with the personnel and what the roles are at any given time and things like that. But yeah, I think it's just been natural. I mean, Fred was playing off the ball with Kyle around years ago. So he has experience with this. It's not going to be that tough a transition. And this summer, he gave the nod himself. He's okay with it because he posted on Instagram him in a workout listening to Jimmy Crooks, the song by Drake and 21 Savage, where he says, "Oh, I heard you're a shooting guard now." He literally played that lyric over him practicing this summer, knowing he's adjusting for this role, and he's fully bought into it. So I don't understand what your angst is. It's just maybe it's not happening fast enough. I don't know. I think it's happening the way it's supposed to and naturally it's supposed to. But yeah, I don't think you're all right. If you're going to say you're not Fred VanVleet hater, then I'll have you on record for that. And you know what? All right. Are you saying he just can't create in certain ways that they can't? Well, maybe partly because his court vision is not as high up as Scottie. Scotty's really daring and risky with his passes. In fact, he pisses me off sometimes with the amount of risk he builds into his passing by making them no look or just trying to thread the needle in places where he shouldn't. I mean, that's great that he has the aptitude and he's successful quite often, but it's not totally safe kind of playmaking. And it pisses me off. And he's going to have a lot more turnovers. And if you, one stat you may want to look at in this whole thing, you're talking about a lot of different stats. One stat may be assisted turnovers. You might want to look at Fred's assisted turnovers ratio. And that may change your mind on some of this argument too, is that like his assist to turnover ratio is one of the top in the whole entire league right now. And that is the most important stat for a point guard, honestly, is the assist to turnover ratio. And Fred's been doing like 10-to-1 ratio in some of these games this year. So go look at that stat and think about that also in relation to who's going to be successful at getting points. Assist to turnover ratio is the best measure for this. But anyway, once again, I think we're really arguing semantics and we're probably very much on the same page. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Needless to say, let's get away from the labels, people. Let's not try and fit everybody into the same box. I know it's just it makes you feel better if you can label everything a certain way and this is this and this is that. Well, maybe we just need to be an amorphous blah, 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 blah all over the place. Guardian saying, hate to say it, but Scottie is hurting or he is just not getting his game going. This is not a one-off. With Pascal out, he should be stepping up offensively. Definitely there is no excuses. There is, but there is. There isn't, but there is, Guardian. I cannot totally agree with everything here. We've already illuminated in the chat that Pascal's presence makes Scottie's life easier, and that Pascal not being there is part of the reason why he's struggling so much. It's not necessarily that, oh, he can just magically jump into a number one role and just carry all the water for us and do everything that Pascal does for us in his absence. That Pascal helps him do what he does when he's around because he takes so much attention. And that Scottie's not totally ready as a second-year player to just jump in and be the superstar and take over and be the absolute man to lead us to the victory. He's not ready for this yet. We can tell. He's trying, and he's trying to figure it out. And the struggles aren't necessarily have to do with injury. Like I've said many times in the last couple of days, he's trying to do things in the low post that's new. And he's fighting through contact, and that's part of why he looks so bad. Isaac saying, moving without the ball is key. Don't be distracted by who's playing point guard, be it Scottie or Fred. Ball movement is okay, but needs to be more purposeful inside and out. That would improve spacing and assists. You know, part of the reason why we haven't had very good assist numbers the last couple of years is a very purposeful intention to not share the ball. Is that they've been going isolation on plays with Fred and Pascal on purpose to limit turnovers. One of the mentalities of the Raptors coaches is if we don't pass the ball very much, they can't have as many opportunities to deflect or steal. And that is really part of the reason why we do Pascal the way we do him. Is like we have him very much isolation, one-on-one, just beat them, and he's not passing around very much because they realize the more we pass the ball around on offense, the more opportunity the other team has to turn the ball over from us and steal it. So that is part of the mentality of why the Raptors have had poor assist numbers is because they're trying to limit their turnovers by not passing it. So it's a catch-22 because in some ways they do need to open it up and start passing more. But where is that balance with allowing for not having having more turnovers all of a sudden and the ball going the other way more often because of that? So there's a balance with this. Let's see. Isaac is saying moving without the. Okay, I just read that one. Mike's saying that's NBA value game. Show you can fill in when injuries and matches are good. Then it's about building the consistency and the consistent, reliable guys get the bags. Yes. And G thinks what you said is well said and true, Isaac. I like that. All right, let's see. Yeah, moving without the ball. Yeah, I read that one. Yeah, the spacing and honestly, the cuts. The thing we could learn from the Thunder last night is the way they were moving without the ball and cutting to the basket. We could get way more of that kind of action on our side on the offense. We would do so much better. And we had some of that going on with the Houston game. If you notice, like OG would cut to the basket and boom, they were finding him for lobs. So that kind of stuff is there. It's just our guys aren't moving in the patterns. And, you know, Yuta was one of the best guys for us for this last year. is we miss Yuta doing cuts and moving off the ball and making a target that's easy for guys to find, for easy stuff to happen. So they need to move more off the ball. And maybe we need to not only screen guys off when they have the ball at the top of the key, but maybe screen guys underneath the basket to get free that are off the ball so they can come around and hit that corner and be free to just shoot. You put a center in the middle and they kind of screen off the defender for that guy. And then all of a sudden they're in the corner and they're shooting a three. We should maybe do an off ball screens more. That's what I'm saying there. More screens in general is probably good. Let's see. Van Hoot is saying Pensera was anti-Fred VanVleet. I want him off ball to conserve his body for the playoffs, and he's a lead off ball. Okay, I am completely on board with what you said here because this is actually something I noticed in the game last night. Fred was struggling with bringing the ball up against the very intense full court press by the Thunder last night. That is not normally a thing that we see. I was like, in fact, I was worried about Fred. And that's part of the reason why Dalano kept turning the ball over by not playing half-assed is because they were so intense with their intensity of the defensive pressure. Well, at some point, Fred had to tap out and say, I can't be the point guard for the rest of the night. And they brought Malachi in, and he very specifically came over to Malachi and said, I'm going to go off ball, and then I can use my energy to shoot instead of having to expend so much fighting a full court press, bringing the ball up. That was very much a switch in the game last night that they made when they brought Flynn in eventually. They were saying, okay, let Flynn do all the work and that hard work of that, and then Freddie is not spent for the shooting. And I agree with this, Van Hoot. This is big reason why we want him off the ball is because he uses so much energy doing the ball handling that it takes away from his energy to be able to make shots. And I am completely with you on this. And we want to see more of this. And I'm with you this. I've called for a patience with this team. It's the physical tools and the court vision that you said. Yeah. Yeah, Scottie is like maybe more gifted as a passer. I mean, I've thought about this. Is Fred a better point guard than Scottie, or is Scottie a better point guard as far as the passing acumen, the accuracy, the creativity, the stuff? And in some ways, I don't know if I can say Scottie's a better point guard or passer than him, even if he has some really crazy no looks and threads the needle. It's still like you got to and Freddie's body of work, you got to accumulate all the veteran experience and all the different scenarios and different things he's been put in already. And Scottie doesn't have that as far as the NBA experience in the background. So in some ways, I say that Fred's still a better point guard just because he has way more time and knowing what to do and what works in different situations and being more savvy. Like he outplayed Jalen Green the other night, and that really helped this argument that he can't play against younger, quicker guards. Well, he outplayed Jalen Green on Wednesday night, and he's not that far off from Maxey in some ways. So I look at a lot of that. A lot of the soaring for Fred VanVleet comes from the playoffs last year and how Maxey absolutely torched him. Absolutely torched him. Nameless saying, yeah, we don't dump on our own players on this channel. We're enlightened sports fans over here. We're positive fans that stand up and support our team. We're not here to critique and make them feel shitty or tell them that they're a piece of crap and we hate them. Yeah, Fred is my point guard and I'm sticking by him. Okay, Fiercey's on team Fred. I watched that Gillette commercial, the Razor commercial, OG versus Fred. Which team are you on? And I have to say I'm on team OG because I am the smooth. It's like whether you have a beard or not. If you have a beard, you're on Team Fred because it's Team Styles. But I'm on Team Smooth. I'm on OG's team. So if we're picking teams on the Gillette commercial that's out right now, I'm on Team OG, guys. Isaac saying respect to G. Yes, always respect to G. Original Raptor Freak on this channel has been here since the very beginning, y'all. He started here day one with me, and I appreciate a day one person like G. Tom Duke's saying 69 more games to go. Ooh, 69. That sounds fine to me. Let's get something good going. Fred VanVleet, another all-star season coming. I hope so. It may not be possible, though, just because of him taking a relegated role in the ways we've been talking right now. And he may not have that punch or anything. And this year, there may be other guys that kind of overshadow him and are more likely candidates, especially Siakam and possibly Barnes. Who knows? Or maybe even OG if he continues to stay healthy and do really amazing things like what he's doing. Van Hoot is saying assist to turnover ratio is important, but you can't shift it being more conservative with passes and slowing the offense down. I'm pushing back because you paint me as anti-Fred. Okay. All right. Well, no. All right. Here's something I'll say, and this is supporting what you're saying also, Van Hoot. one of the things that the Raptors are trying to do right now is go more up tempo and use less of the shot clock. And I will agree with this. If we want to go in this direction, Fred is not the future because he does eat up a lot of the clock with his decision making and just handling the ball at the top of the clock. I have hated this for years. So it's like, why are you just stand there and dribble for like 5 seconds and let everybody get set and there's no motion on the offense? And then all of a sudden you're going to pick the ball up and try and do something with like the last 3 or 4 seconds of the shot clock. Whether it's Fred or Pascal, they both do this. And I don't like that. I agree with you. And I'm anti that. I'm not anti Fred for sure. And I don't think you are either. But I agree with this. Once again, I think that we're just coming at it from different angles and we are very much on the same page. That I do like this idea of like, somebody got mad because Scottie took a shot so early in the shot clock a couple games ago. I said, no, that's good. Because in some ways, one of our goals this year is not only to get more shot attempts by crashing the boards and manufacturing more field goal attempts, it's also by getting more because of time, shortening the time that we have the ball on each possession. This is true. The old NBA, you'd try and use the whole 24-second clock and milk it. And then the scores would be like 80 to 85 or something like that. Well, in the new NBA, every second is important. And a lot of teams are throwing that old fundamental idea of you wait and work through the shot clock to get the best shot to like, let's get the best kind of close to good shot as early in the shot clock as possible, because over the whole course of the game, that will mean way more possessions and way more field goal attempts. And it's like quantity over quality kind of idea. And this is really a lot of what the Raptors have been doing with their offense is let's do a lot of quantity over quality. And well, that way of doing it is being up tempo like Dalano and Scottie and pushing the ball right down their throats every single time we get it, instead of bringing the ball up casually and holding it at the top of the key for like 20 seconds and then trying to shoot. So I'm completely in agreement with you on this. I want to see this more happen, this more for us. Because we saw it against Atlanta and San Antonio. That was more of what we were doing. We were running that ball right up and down the court like a Showtime Lakers team would. And that is what we want. I know you want it and I want it too. It's just we're getting there. We're seeing experiments with it and it's coming out more and we're seeing success from it. So we should see it more and more. It's just maybe some games just aren't like conducive for the settings for it to happen. And those games against Atlanta and San Antonio, they were. They really were. So, yeah, I think once again, Van Hoot, I think we're on the same page. I don't paint you like I do Panzer. And we're just coming at it from different angles, but we want very much the same thing. Mike's saying poor shooting also affects the assists. We're not as good at shooting. That's damn truth. We can make a beautiful assist, but the guy doesn't convert the shot. Then it just disappears and dissipates in the air. So making shots really helps your assist number for sure. They shot like 60% for most of the night last night. Of course, their assists are going to be up because they're converting them all and they're getting that stat added. When you make a good assist and they miss the shot, that doesn't get counted. It just dissipates and goes away forever. So Mike has a very excellent point right there. And the fact that we're not one of the best shooting teams in the league, we really have to manufacture through physicality and talent. That we don't have a lot of really good dead-eye shooters and that kind of classic way of NBA hoopers that just can fill up the net. We have to really figure out how we get our offense in different weird ways that other teams have it easier, partly because of the personnel on our team and the way we play. All right, let's see. Yeah, I would like to see actual passing numbers into shots and compare eras to find more context. Mike, you go ahead. That sounds like a lot of homework. That sounds like a lot of homework right there. Guardian is saying, so if you do not agree, are you saying Scottie is just not good enough? He needs to play the whole game from tip off. Not scoring until third or fourth quarter does not cut it. Spread the wealth. Yeah, he was not playing good enough. I'm not saying he's not good enough overall. I think that in times it's like anybody, your biorhythm, you have ups and downs with your energy, and he's just flat. And sometimes he can't just be everything all the time. You know, he's not going to be a perfect player. He's going to have his ups and downs. I think it's just development. The word is development. And he's under development. He's under construction, like a space in the mall. It's closed right now. It's going to be a new hot topic. They're going to build a new hot topic here. So just wait. It's under construction. When it opens, it'll be real nice. You can buy stuff from it. But right now that's under construction. It's closed. You can't really go in there. It's in development. And that's part of the problem with Scottie. He's in between worlds. He's in between the very comfortable rookie season where he played within himself and within the game and had very good success that looked very easy to everyone. So they just automatically assume everything's going to come easy to him, to going into being more in a mode where he's forcing his will. That there's a lot against him as far as the referees, the contact from the other players, and it doesn't look as easy. Now everybody's looking for solutions for why. Why is it this way? Why is it that he's not having the success that he had last year when it came so easily? Well, it's because he's doing harder stuff this year. It's like he's in a different grade and the subject material is harder. He went from like science and learning about dinosaurs to like real hardcore physics. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference right there. And it's not that he's not good enough. It's just he needs time to develop and he's going to get good enough. It's just that he doesn't look good enough right now. And he isn't good enough right now because he's not successful. We're so cutthroat. Like we're like, you have to be successful, completely 100% successful. One player on the Raptors don't play well enough. Well, we're going to call them out, even if everything else was exactly perfect. The Raptor fan nation is going to pick that one little blemish on the record apart. Oh my gosh. G saying, as a stat person myself, they do not tell the whole entire story. Things like what Logical said in regards to the Raps not having shooters affect assists depend on mismatches in transition. Affect assist numbers, they depend on mismatches in transition points. Exactly. This is exactly right. I was touching on it a little bit just now, and Mike's saying it, and G is reflecting it also, that because we don't have that kind of makeup, we really have to rely on mismatches and transition to get easier baskets. That Pascal may be our best one-on-one isolation kind of player, but some of the other guys, we can't just expect them to step in his spot with the way we run our offense and do the same thing. And maybe that's part of the problem, is that our offense is so used to Pascal's presence and being able to play off him that those guys' offensive games are easier and cushier from that. And with his absence, the work is harder and they're not as good because of that. It sucks. Yeah. Fiercely saying the Gillette commercial, laugh out loud. That's a good commercial. I love seeing our guys in those commercials. Always fun to see them get that advertising bag. And Scottie's all about that Subway. He is the Subway spokesperson this year for sure in Canada. I love it. Isaac saying Raptors' best asset when Pascal is injured is actually the synergy between Barnes and Fred VanVleet. It's not one or the other. We win when they both play unselfish, fluid ball. Yeah. Scottie can go into the paint and boom, there's Fred out there. Boom, hit him. All kinds of stuff. Or Freddie gets somewhere and then he can find Scottie and set him up. Yeah. Van Hoot saying Basketball Index puts Scottie #1 playmaker in NBA across all stat categories. Don't believe in positions. I'm focusing on offensive initiation versus finishing. Thank you for walking the anti-X thing. Need skills back. Yeah, no problem, man. It's just like I said, we're very sensitive to it right now. And we are stands for Fred, and we fight this battle in every social media corner. That we are those guys that are out there. We're like the Knights Templar to defend Fred's honor. And I know we won't paint you like that. Everybody should be able to be criticized for sure, but we want it to be fair and the right way and stuff. So yeah. All right. I'm glad we're in the right place at this point. And I have seen these stats about Scottie and his playmaking, and they do look really good and promising. That's the thing that I love about it. It's like these are good things, and none of these things are bad. Logical saying, like I said, Van Hoot, Kenyon respects the growth. Oh, that's Van Hoot's name. Van Hoot's name is Kenyon. Okay, well, I didn't know you meant when you said Kenyon earlier. I thought you meant Kenyon Martin Jr. from the Houston game. That's the last Kenyon I dealt with. I didn't realize that it's Kenyon Van Hoot. All right, respects the growth and development culture we have and wants more touches to develop faster. Okay, cool. All right, well, I respect and I appreciate your presence here today, Kenyon. And I hope you'll continue to come. I know you've been here before, and I appreciate your input because honestly, you sound very astute. And I'm glad that we're like, listen, this is the thing. This isn't a divisive place. We want to come to a consensus and understand more. It's not like I'm not going to say, oh, you're wrong and I hate you and get out of here. And I hope you wouldn't do that to me either if we disagree, because we will work it out and maybe we can help each other see things. I'm very much not the end all be all. I can be corrected. And I am corrected all the time by people here. And I don't mind that at all. Let's see. Shane Waters is saying, simple strategy for tonight. Put the ball in the basket. Let's just get it very basic. Get the ball. Take the ball to the basket and put it in the fucking basket. That's the keys to the win tonight. There you go. There's your keys to the win tonight. Get the fucking ball. Take the ball to the fucking basket and put the fucking ball in the basket. There you go. Shane Waters, thank you for the keys to victory today. Mason saying, we can tell we are missing most of our bigs. Sorry, guys. I'd say this is the worst loss of the season. Nothing went well at all, but hoping we bounce back tonight, though. Yeah, I said this. I think this is the worst loss we've had in 2 years. The one that's comparable is the Boxing Day debacle, but even then, they had a way better effort. So in some ways, this is worse than that game, even though the margin is better. Van Hoot saying we don't track hockey assists yet. I would be curious to see what the numbers show on that. You see, Thad, SCOTTIE skills pass and point, but next passes in film study. Want NBA to track that stat. That's a great idea. Honestly, you're right. Sometimes it isn't even the pass that's the assist. It's the setup pass to the passer to the assist. And the way the Raptors move the ball so quickly, and there's a lot of ball sharing in that kind of way, that would be interesting to see who is the link before the link that got the ball to the person. I think that's a great idea, Van Hoot. And who knows? Maybe they'll listen to us. And the NBA is always trying to innovate. Maybe they'll add a new stat category. And I think that's a good one, the hockey assist. And that's brilliant. I like when hockey stuff kind of bleeds over into stuff with the basketball. Like I've heard recently that the Leafs have tried to play a positionless hockey team. And I'm like, they're ripping off the Raptors on the hockey level. They're playing positionless hockey. And I've also talked recently about how we have different lines for the Raptors right now. We have an energy line with Chris and Precious. We have a vet line with Thad and Otto. Different looks that are kind of like lines in hockey that you can put out there. And Logical saying, Van Hoot, the Raps track everything. I'll bet you they do have that up there on that board in their OVO. They have their hockey assists on there. All right, let me do the recap since we're right at 2.5 hours. This seems to be right around the normal time. Our injuries tonight are as follows. Once again, Chris Duarte is out for Indiana, and also Daniel Tice. And Trevelyan Queen is day-to-day. He could be there, but he's really more a G League guy. And then on our side, we know all too well what our injuries are. Do I really want to put them out there again more? Yes, Kem Birch, Precious, Pascal out. We're really thinking that Freddie's going to be out tonight just because he was sick last night. And hopefully nobody else has got any more sickness over the course of traveling from Oklahoma City to Indiana. Once again, I hate this. We're traveling back one time zone. We're traveling overnight after a later game, and we're playing on a back-to-back today. It's very much smacks of Miami, the first game after Brooklyn, that this may be a scheduled loss, and we may be 500 tonight after the game. And I hate that. I'd like to see the Raptors stay above 500 and have some pride and say, we don't want to be 7-7 at midnight tonight. We want to be 8-6, and we have some pride. We lost in an ugly, awful way last night. We need to show the world that we are not that team, that we are humiliated, and we are going to show a better effort, and that we are badasses still. So the opportunity is there to do this, Raptors, and really take this seriously. But there are things that are not in their favor. And the fact that Indiana has been off since Wednesday night and had 2 days rest, and we played last night and traveled, that is a huge detriment, huge detriment for tonight. And I hate to say it, but that may be a factor. And I hope it isn't. Maybe our guys were just saving up their energy. Like, oh, we won't play as hard tonight, but we'll really go out on the second night of a back-to-back. Who knows? Our ref crew tonight is Bill Kennedy, Matt Boland, and Natalie Sago. And that's who we got for refs. All right, y'all, let's enjoy our Saturday before the game. And don't think about the game last night. Think forward to tonight and thinking positive thoughts about the Raptors getting healthier, healing up, and getting less sick, and all kinds of different ways. Just good vibes for the Raptors. Let's put it out there, y'all. Mason saying, I don't let one game predict my feeling on the whole season. That's the best way to do it. Some people are like that. They really are like lemmings running off the edge of a cliff after what happened last night. I'm like, y'all, stop chicken littling. Just stop. That's a general term we use on this channel when people overreact and think the sky is falling when it actually isn't. So no more chicken littling by Raptors fans out there, please. Kenyon saying at Logical Raptors Fanatic, I want access to their stats, please. Team Canada clinched the World Cup last night, by the way. Started looking at hockey when Gasol was here. Hockey assists when Gasol was here. Cool. Yeah, thanks for bringing up Team Canada. That's the juniors that clinched, and that's fantastic. That's really good. Continuing the sport of Canada. Yeah, I live in the city. And then the other thing you're saying here, you know what? Listen, if you guys want the stats, you can find them. I know you guys probably know about Basketball Reference, but if you go to that Basketball Reference site, you may be surprised how much advanced stats is up there for the Raptors all the time. That's where I get all my ref stats for the ref report is from Basketball Reference. So you can go there, and it's an incredible, amazing statistical reference. As it's put. And they may have that stat there. You just got to find it and decipher it because they have a lot of advanced stats that normal people, stat heads, you wouldn't see in the box score or anything like that are all there available to the public. You may already go there and you may already know all this, and I may be just talking stupid, but just in case, go there and see if you can find it. You might be able to find it, Van Hoot. Tom Duke's saying positive thoughts, folks. Let's go. There's the 5 Raptors starting lineup. Like Shane said, put the freaking ball in the net. Cheers, Freak Nation. Thank you, Tom Duke. Thank you for being an executive producer on the Raptor Freak channel. I appreciate you. And Isaac Campbell saying bounce back mojo coming up. Let's go. All right. And Mike, one more. Let's go. Great stream today, Lex. Great conversations and Project Truthing. I'm going to drop part 2 today, doing my part. Logical phase 2 starts today. Feeblest man. Feel blessed, man. I thought you were saying feeble, man. Feel blessed, man. All right, thanks, Mike. W Stream, W Logical Raptors Fanatic, and the other channels out there like Greg and Jubstown Clink and NBA Chev, Top Line Sports, all the great Raptor coverage channels out there. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And please like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you can to help my channel. My subscriptions are continue to go up, and I appreciate that, y'all. I hope you enjoy my off the cuff, just free flowing kind of way I do things here and involving everybody and getting everybody's words said. We don't all always agree on everything. In fact, we go into all kinds of topics on this channel that are very divisive, whether it's the gun control we talked about yesterday, or it is the stuff we've been talking about today with Van Hoot. But the one thing we always try to do on this Raptors channel is try to bring it back full circle and come to an agreement, either to agree to disagree or to at least understand each other just a little bit better. And then the more we can do this in general in our lives, the better this will accumulate around the world, because we can be small scale examples on a larger scale collectively all together. And that the divisiveness of the world today is not the way we can exist and cohabitate on this planet forever together. We need to come together and fix this kind of shit. That the media and different powers out there, mostly politicians, have been pulling the strings and pulling us further apart. So every single day, we can strive to be more on the same page and find commonality in what we have in common. We defeat hate and evil in this world that is trying to pull us apart and keep us separate so they can control us better. So I'm all about coming together and making it right. So I appreciate you today, Van Hoot. And I hope everybody has a great day. Yeah, there you go, Ipsy. I love your comment right in the end. Yeah. I always, that's like my Jerry Springer final thoughts. What are my final thoughts today? You know, Jerry Springer, Jerry. Yeah. So, throwing a chair at a person and attacking them on my stage isn't the best way to figure out conflict. But I hope people learned something here today on my show. And maybe you got entertained a little bit by white trash people fighting and rolling all over the stage. All right, I'll see you next time on Jerry. All right, y'all, let's go. Record!